It's looking festive in the CB4 meeting room, that's for sure.
I agree.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Carlotta.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good too.
Glad to hear it.
Okay.
Hi, this is
Chat.
Hi.
An honorary member of CB4.
Also got another honorary member of CB4 right here.
Oh, wow. Hi, this is Renee from National Grid. Can you see me or hear me?
I can hear you. I can
you
see
see
you as
me?
well.
Okay, because I'm sitting in my car, so
Yes, we
I
can
just wanted
see.
to make sure. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll turn my light on when, thank you so much, everyone.
When you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Felix. How are you?
Hi, Felix.
Hey,
How are you
Felix.
doing?
Good.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Joanna Bennett
One second, I
here.
can't hear you guys. Let me see.
Good
what's
evening,
going on
everyone.
here.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good evening. I hope everybody doing well.
Yeah, keeping warm.
Yes.
Yeah, that cold front really came.
Yes, it did.
Scared to
May I
stay for a while.
suggest that one of the things that helps is if people sign into the chat, that helps with the attendance, just in case when they do the roll call and your name get missed, you know, it's a little bit difficult when we do things by Zoom. So it helps if you put your name in the chat just for the record, for
Okay.
attendance.
Okay.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, Miss Bennett. How are you? And hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm well, looking
Hi.
forward to your long report. Long, complicated report.
I promise I'll get better about that.
It's not your fault. It's very informative.
A lot to cover.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. We'll let Kim get the recording going. All right, so welcome to our public hearing and regular meeting for November 2022. It is the 16th and we're getting started at 6:05 p.m. Thank you everyone for being here. We will go right into our public hearing agenda this evening. First, we have National Grid providing an informational update regarding where New York State is in the process and what National Grid is doing to ensure a fossil-free future as the state approaches the latter stages of deciding how we will collectively reach the clean energy targets outlined in the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. We have, I know, a rep on from National Grid.
Yes, good evening. It's Renee McClure. How is everyone?
Hey, Renee, good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too, Celeste. So Razik was scheduled to participate at this meeting. However, he is under the weather. So I'm covering for him. So thank you so much. And so I'm going to be covering some of his meetings tonight. And I have other meetings tonight. So I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about National Grid and what we're looking to do in regards to the clean energy future. So I'm actually sitting in my car. So if this light is bright, I apologize, because if I turn it out, you won't be able to see me. But I just wanted to say thank you again for allowing me to be here this evening on behalf of National Grid. What we've been doing we've been going around to the community boards to have conversations and just to bring awareness to, what National Grid is doing in line with the 2050 initiative. So can everyone see me and hear me? I just want to double check on that. Great, thank you. Yes. So, so what we're doing is we're going to the community boards to have conversations just to bring awareness. I just wanted to share a few things with you. So, and just ask a question. Is everyone familiar with the New York State Climate Leadership and Protection Act? It's called CLCPA. The 2050 vision falls under that, and it's being organized by the Climate Action Committee. Is everyone familiar with that?
Nope.
Okay. So what I wanted to share was what was happening. So this committee has been tasked with, through the CLCPA, the acronym for that, is to see how we're going to get to 2050 to the Clean Energy Initiative. For National Grid, that means how do we get involved with removing our fossil fuels in that space, right? Because we are committed to the clean energy, the CLCPA initiatives and goals. It came out in 2021, in December of 2021, it came out. Since then, there have been hearings on it. And on December 19th this year, they're looking to take all of the comments and information that was shared with them, including from National Grid and other utilities, on how we could move forward with this initiative. And so it's very important for to bring awareness to what's happening, because at the end of the day, it's going to impact all of us as we look to ensure that we get to 2050 and meet those goals established. So one of the things that we've done, National Grid, we worked with the utility consulting group to provide our feedback to the plan, to ensure that everything that we're looking to accomplish is at least heard. Don't know what the outcome is going to be, but at least heard, from our perspective. And so before I go into that, I just wanted to give a few stats. So heat is the largest sector of the New York Energy's economy. 35% of the total energy in 2020 was heat related. The annual heat energy consumption is more than double the annual total electricity produced in New York. It's equivalent to an average annual power generation of 22 Indian power nuclear plants, or more than 11 times the annual power generation from offshore wind that the New York team is aimed to build by 2035. Overall, fossil fuels, which National Grid has as our gas, downstate, also upstate, and in Massachusetts, we do gas and electric. But fossil fuels in New York State currently provides 92% of the energy, the heat energy. So as you can imagine, it's a big undertaking for us to ensure that we transition in a reliable, safe, and equitable way as we move forward with this. So some of the things that we're doing, we're looking at ways to maintain energy in an affordable manner, which is clearly essential to the energy transition. We want to ensure that the path to net zero must be reliable and resilient, and a resilient energy system. In addition, we wanted to ensure that establishing an energy transition is just that, and it's going to be equitable for all New Yorkers. Our President Rudy Winters has said on numerous occasions that we do not want to leave any community behind. We want to make sure that as we do this transition, our communities are aware of what's happening, and hence that's one of the reasons why we're out here today to talk from our perspective. And we also want to create an energy transition that is fair to workers who have dedicated their careers to providing our society with safe and reliable energy services. So a part of that, we have created a National Grid fossil-free plan. And so our ambition is to fully eliminate fossil fuels from our network no later than 2050. So what does that mean? So what this means is that this pledge that we put out sets out a pathway that utilizes existing technology. We're looking at RNG. We're also looking at hydrogen, or green H2, green hydrogen. And we're saying this is because we understand that electrification is going to happen. That is part of our portfolio. But we also understand that customers should have a choice in how they would like to move forward. So we're looking at RNG. We're looking at green energy to help move this initiative forward. We're looking at geothermal. Our ventures group, or our subsidiary ventures group, is, we just secured a partnership with a wind company. So we're looking at how we're going to bring wind into our mix. So we're looking to create a mixed portfolio to move all these things that we have to do to meet that goal of 2050. So what I really want to leave with you this evening is our core message. One, National Grid is looking how we're going to move the transition that will be affordable and a choice for our customers through a different type of portfolio, not just electricity, but other portfolios like RNG, renewable gas, green hydrogen, and the likes, of course, wind and solar. And then we also want to make sure that we have the supply. We cannot meet the New York's clean energy with just wind and solar. We understand that. So we need to look at all the tools at our disposal, or all the options at our disposal, which I just mentioned. And finally, economic growth. We cannot let the clean energy transition undermine the economic growth and put our New Yorker or our workers out of work. So that's really my message that I wanted to share with you. And I wanted to know if you had any questions. So Celeste and team, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Of course. Board members, any questions?
So I have a question. So if National Grid is purporting to invest in clean energy, why are they continuing to invest infrastructure into building the North Brooklyn pipeline, which has faced a lot of community opposition? And I know that Hochul has banned the vaporizers from setting up shop in Greenpoint, and former Mayor Bill de Blasio also asked National Grid to stop this project, but it to my knowledge, that has not happened. So I'm getting mixed messages here personally.
Right. So you asked a lot of questions. I'm going to try to answer them in a couple of things. One, in regards to the project, the MRI project that has temporarily been stopped. The purpose of that project was to create a redundancy, okay, another path to bring in the supplies that we already have. We weren't looking at to increase supplies, but that was going to be a redundant, like a loop system as a backup. And we often do that. We have loop systems. So that's in regards to that. In regards to the vaporizers, we had the hearings on that. And the purpose of the vaporizers, which, when we had our hearings, talked about what do we do when it's the coldest day of the year and we have to move gas if there's a issue that comes up. We're taking off our temperature control customers. We've looked at how do we, move a situation. If there's a situation that comes up, how do we address that? The vaporizers were there to help bring in, first of all, the more efficient vaporizers we were looking to bring on. And then how do we ensure that would take place as part of ensuring that we have the supplies or be able to provide the reliability and supplies that we need. So that was the purpose of the vaporizers. In regards to the infrastructure, we still have requirements by the regulatories that if there's a gas leak, what we call gas leak mains and things like that. So we still have to build our infrastructure. That's not going to change. But we're saying is that as we build out that infrastructure, when we're looking at a cleaner transition, those same lines could be used to move RNG, to move, a blended hydrogen. So we're looking at that, not so much that we're continuing, but there's a system of reliability and sustainability that we must maintain. And so that work has to continue, that we are regulated to do that. Not as we move forward, we're looking to see how we can transition to use those systems for the purposes that I mentioned before, for the renewable gas and hydrogen, possibly hydrogen blends. But for the most part now, is how do we maintain the system integrity that we are required to do?
Okay, and I also have a point of clarification. What is RNG, I think you said?
Yes, renewable natural gas.
I see. Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome, and thank you for the question. I think there was another question.
Yes,
Yeah.
Stephanie?
Yes, I wanted to ask about geothermal and green hydrogen. Now, are those safe and proven methods, and how exactly does that work? What exactly are they?
Okay, so geothermal has been in existence for a while. That's not new technology. I imagine that over time it's going to get better. I'm actually working on a geothermal project where we're looking at heat. It's a heat source, right? So instead of using natural gas, they're using a geothermal. And I'm not an engineer, so I want to be very clear. I can't give you all the technicalities of it, but I will say that
kind of fuel.
Geothermal, I've seen it. I believe it's part of the electrical portion of it.
Oh.
Again, I am not, there are some pieces of that. So again, I'm not the engineer, okay? But I do know we are looking at geothermal projects right now. In fact, we're working with the PSC because they've asked us to find pilot projects. So everyone is still working out all these nuances to understand, how does it look working in an urban environment? How does it look working upstate? So we're trying to identify projects literally now that we can pilot for the geothermal studies. But I know the Brooklyn Navy Yard has geothermal. I know the Brooklyn Children's Museum has geothermal. There's an organization out there, Block Power, that's working with other organizations to bring in geothermal. So it's more to come on that, but it's still a learning for all of us. And the green hydrogen, that's clean hydrogen, that's part of your RNG. Think about when you look at what we're trying to do with Newtown Creek, which is still waiting to come online. We are so close, where we're taking the composites or what's delivered to that plant treatment area, and how do we reuse that methane that's being emitted from that and go through that whole process and pull that gas back into our system that we can use.
Oh, wow.
So that's all
So
part
that's
of that.
hydrogen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So we're actually doing that at Newtown Creek. We're waiting for the final. We've done some testing, so that's been underway. And hopefully, we've had a few bumps on both sides with who we've been working with and National Grid, but we're just trying to get past that last little piece, but that is well underway. And we're hoping to have that delivered soon. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was great. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I thought I saw one more hand. Any other board members?
Ann Guiney had her hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just going to give a 30-second clarification of geothermal. It just that the temperature of the earth several feet underground doesn't get that hot, doesn't get that cold. It fluctuates by a few degrees, of course, winter and summer. But basically, if you run air through pipes through that underground, it brings it to, from 30 degrees outside to whatever the temperature of the earth is without actually costing anything. And then it's way cheaper to heat that air to what you want in your house, 70 degrees. The same goes for cooling it from 100 degrees outside to 70 degrees again. It makes the heating and cooling systems have to do way less work because the earth has done some of that work. That's all.
Thank you.
Showina?
Excuse me. I know people who are fixing their homes to convert from oil to gas. So my question is, are those people wasting their money? Because we seem to be caught up in what is the most efficient and the cheapest form of heating our homes. And because of the oil crisis, et cetera, people are now like, let me go to natural gas, which is costing people thousands of dollars to convert from oil heat to gas heat. And now we're being told that, this is not the future, the options that you'd offered. So can you kind of give us kind of idea of what this does to the infrastructure of our homes to convert to these new forms of energy that you're discussing?
Right. And those details are still being worked out. But I will say this to you. Yes, there is a move from oil to gas. But also there's a point where we're going to have to stop because we're not going to be through the whole movement. They called it the gas ban. I don't want to use that word, but 2024, we are looking at not being able to provide gas in that space. So what does that mean? And that's why we're having these conversations. So your question is right on point. How do we look at what does it mean to retrofit? Those are the things that we want to make sure the CLCPA is taking into consideration because there's going to be a cost. And if there's a requirement for individuals to move to that, what does that cost look like? Right? Those things are still being worked out. And that's why we're having a conversation to bring awareness to that, not from a national grid perspective, but from an awareness of saying, look at what's happening because it's going to impact all of us. It's going to impact the utilities. It's going to impact the businesses. It's going to impact the communities. And how do we make that transition as smooth as possible with all the information in front of us before we get to that place where you have to make that retrofit change. And now you're saying it's going to cost this amount and I wasn't anticipating it. So this is the thing we're looking at and saying, have those conversations now. So when the CLCPA makes their decision by December 19th, you're informed and those questions will be able to be put on the table. So that's a great question. And so that's why we're doing this because we're finding out a lot of people, I gave the example earlier today. I said, they kept saying they were going to 5G. I said, okay, right? We're going to 5G, right? I thought one of my phones worked for 5G. I thought my iPad worked for 5G. Little did I know when they switched to 5G, all of a sudden my data's not working. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? Well, you went to 5G, but I thought my iPad was going to be equipped because it's been moving up the line with all the other Gs, right? And all of a sudden 5G, it doesn't work. I said, well, stop charging me then. You're still charging me for data, and I'm paying for data that I can't use. So cut my line. And by the way, give me a refund on it, because you should have told me that very clear that it wasn't going to be able to be used, right? So those are things that I'm saying, is that oftentimes there's things that we know it's happening, but we don't stop to really pay attention to see how it's going to impact us as a customer. And so that's what we're saying. Just stop, think about what's happening, and just pay a little more attention to what this transition means to everyone.
Right. So when do you think that we might be able to get some figures? Because people have to make decisions about whether they're going to be able to hold on to their homes.
Right.
Bushwick
Exactly.
we have tenants. How does that going to affect rent increases? What government assistance, what programs are going to be able to help us for these conversions? So do you have any idea? I think you're giving the year 2013, which is not that far away at all.
2050
get
for
some
the
figures?
right. So those figures are not going to be coming from us per se. So we're waiting as well, because again, after the CLCPA, those are the things that we're saying, those things need to be considered when they work out that scoping plan. The exact questions that you just asked, those are the questions that should be accounted for in the CLCPA. It may not tell you by a piece of equipment, by, what does that look like, but what does the range look like? What is it going to cost to do that retrofit? Am I required to do that retrofit? Some buildings are unable to do full electrification. And that's what we're saying. There has to be a choice. There has to be a choice, not just pure electrification, which we understand helps, but there has to be other options to provide to our customers to be able to move to that transition. So I don't have those answers. We're still waiting for those answers, and those things have to be worked out. And that's why we're trying to bring awareness to it, to ask those exact questions that you're asking us with.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Stephanie?
Joanna, I've been doing some work over my mother's house, plumbing and things like that. And the plumber over there, she has a oil tank. So the plumber over there was telling me that oil is really, really high this year, and I guess for everyone, and that it's going to be around in between $6 and $8 a gallon for oil for the oil tank, okay, versus the gas. So the gas in this case, as in this present environment, is more economical than oil right now.
Right. That's what's happening. And it costs thousands of dollars to do that. And so that's why then we're being, presented by National Grid that may become obsolete very soon. And so that's the reason for my questions. But yes, you're absolutely right.
You're right. But think about this. If the change is made for natural gas, right, and we can still use the infrastructure for hydrogen blends or RNG, then it would just, how do we make that adjustment with the pipes that are already there, as opposed to taking out all of your gas lines or whatever is required to make it happen to bring in electric. So that's what we're saying. There should be a choice put on the table, or what we're recommending is a choice that they should consider RNG. So they should consider
Hello?
hydrogen.
Uh-oh.
Renee, you're lagging a little bit.
Well,
It appears that she's frozen.
Okay.
can I
So
say one more thing?
yes, one more thing, and then we have to move on.
Okay, yes. One option that was also given to me that I just wanted to let the people that know that are using oil as a heat source is that they can kind of take your
I can see.
existing.
Did I?
Oh, there she goes. They can take your existing furnace and put a little something on the top and convert it from the oil to the gas, and then change the pipes around a little bit, which is more economical at $3,000 around that. A boiler would be around 12,000. So that little switch could be around 3,000. I just wanted to share what I learned.
Thank you for sharing. So I have two more questions for Renee. I want to know, what is the rest of the outreach plan? So this is, a meeting with the community board. What else is being done on National Grid's part to raise awareness? And my follow-up question to that is also, how is best for individuals to communicate concerns? So if there are questions, concerns, comments, how can we get those to the right location?
Okay. So in regards to, we've been talking to all the community boards in our space. We've had similar meetings with electeds regarding this initiative. We have been doing ads, social media, all these types of things to do outreach, because not everybody looks at or hears things the same, right? So how do we get that information out? And we're going to continue to do it, to send that out. I believe we sent out like 5 documents. We would ask that there was a 1-page document. If you would send that out, if it's possible, for people to ask questions to it. In regards to the questions, if you have questions about what we're doing at National Grid, we're more than welcome to answer those. In regards to the CLCPA, in those documents, there's links that would share what the process is. I know for the most part, the period for comments has closed. However, there may be another email in there where you can share information or provide that kind of feedback.
Thank you. All right. Anything in the chat? All set? All right. Thank you, Renee. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And just have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you.
Likewise.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, we will move on now. We're going to move a few of the items on our agenda around just to accommodate schedules. Mr. Camacho, you want to?
Yeah,
we want to push the agenda up because I know that the captain crossing from the A3 has another activity to go to, so we want to give him to do his report analysis here in regards to the A3, and I don't want anyone. We don't want him to leave, so we want to make sure that we give him enough time for he could do his analysis and we can have a Q&A.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Good evening, all, everyone at CB4. I'm here. I'm Captain Sean Claxton, Executive Officer of the 83rd Precinct. Alongside me here is our Community Affairs Officer, Officer Lopez. So this is actually my first in-person CB4 meeting. So it's a pleasure to be here. I've been in the precinct over 18 months and everything's been Zoom. So it's great to actually be around people and to see faces up front. I bring greetings from our commanding officer, Deputy Inspector Sarubi. Unfortunately, she's not able to attend today. But in absence, I can provide needed information. And I'm just going to echo. We had a precinct clergy council meeting earlier this morning, and I'll just echo some of the points that I've made this morning. For the most of you probably weren't in attendance then. So earlier last week we did have a commanding officers community advisory board where we have prominent individuals from the community come in, speak with the commanding officer and myself, and just give us advice on the needs of the community that we probably might not see or might not notice. We have a member of this community board, part of the council, some of our community partners, clergy, leadership, and it was a great discussion. It was some time, but we got a few points. We were informed about park conditions, trucking, off-route trucking along our major corridors within our precinct, and we welcome further meetings. And from my understanding, our commander, she's open to having more individuals, come in and give their point of view of what they see going on within the community that we as a police department in 83rd Precinct, we can address. So I'll get into, real quickly in the interest of time, I'll get into a little bit of traffic safety, what we're seeing in the 83rd Precinct. Our motto is public safety is traffic safety. So, we don't just take a look at crimes. We take a look at traffic conditions because we want to make sure that all of our residents within the 83rd precinct is safe. As I look down the list of all the categories that we monitor, we're actually down in a lot. If we talk about collisions in itself, we're down about 24%, 118 collisions this 28-day period compared to the last 28-day period this year, which was 156. That's a negative 38 collisions. As well as bicycle collisions, we're down 22%, 7 versus 9, a decrease in 2. Fatalities, we're down 1 for the year, 1 fatality for the year. Just to compare that to last year, we had 4 fatalities. So, we are increasing our efforts through enforcement. Our enforcement numbers are very high. Within the 28-day period, when we talk about red light summonses, cell phones, texting, speeding, failure to yield to pedestrian, we're all up substantially high. Failure to yield to pedestrian, that's up 1,200%. 13 of those summonses this 28-day period compared to last year, where we only issued 1. And just to get a broader perspective, for the year to date, we've issued 108 of those summonses this year compared to last year at this time, where we only issued 15. And the reason why I'm mentioning a failure to yield to pedestrians, because that is the one category that we're presently up in. Pedestrians being struck. This 28-day period, we have 13 pedestrians being struck as opposed to 9 last year, 28-day period. That's an increase of 44%. If you look at year to date, we're up as well, 91 pedestrians struck compared to 80 last year. That's an increase of 11 or 13%. So we've been paying special attention and our enforcement efforts into pedestrians and issuing vehicle summonses for individuals that's just not really paying attention to the pedestrian crossing the road. Our speed enforcement is high as well. And I just also wanted to address that everyone in the 83rd precinct is involved in addressing traffic conditions. We have a traffic highway safety team comprised of 4 officers, and they're tasked with just addressing traffic related conditions. However, the precinct has over 200 officers, well, 178 officers, and everyone's involved, not just that team of 4. We have patrol, we have our auxiliary officers. We utilize all auxiliary officers to go out to major intersections, to go out to senior living facilities. We have a crime prevention officer that gives public speeches, lectures at the same senior living facilities. We have our NCO officers, our neighborhood coordination officers. They've done 12 initiatives this 28-day period alone. Just as an added effort to address the traffic related conditions that we have. So we also affected several arrests on DWI for the period, DWI and suspended license. And as I stated, it's not just our traffic team. Actually, with those arrests, our traffic team have not made those arrests for this 28-day period. It's been our precinct personnel. So everyone's getting involved, and I believe it's extremely important what we're doing. And to be honest, it's not just going out and writing summonses. We don't just write numbers for numbers. That's not the objective. The objective is we use data, we analyze our data, we see where the accidents, the collisions are occurring, and we target that locations. We look for repeated areas where we see people are getting hit, car accidents, and we target those locations, not just with summonses, but education is a major factor as well that we use to just educate the community on ways that they could prevent being hit by vehicles or prevent hitting the pedestrian, the driver inattentiveness, people be on their cell phones. We have several flyers. We actually leverage our social media accounts. We have a social media account with Twitter at NYPD 83 Precinct, PCT. and also Facebook NYPD 83rd Precinct. I encourage everyone listening to log on just for information sharing. There's a plethora of information online that we distribute, that we show the public, through flyers. We have pictures of our youth officers giving out.
The feed is going out for the community board for.
Right. My guess is that Celeste is trying to get him to log back in, give him time to come back in.
This happened last month too, didn't it? So
Really?
we have, I mean, technology never is 100% perfect, is it?
Right, right. So let's just all at once start in the chat though and write something.
Okay, it looks like they are aware of the problem, and they're troubleshooting now.
Oh, you see that?
Yeah, in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, their feed went dark, but
Yeah, the
We
Zoom.
might need to text her, let her know that they're out.
Right, because I don't see it says sorry for the technology issue. Oh, okay. I guess they're trying to figure something out. But November is just flying by, isn't it? I mean, my goodness, going so fast.
halfway gone.
Yes, normally this would be the time when the 83rd would be taking up collections for turkey dinners for underprivileged people.
Oh,
That happens every year.
Is that not going to happen this year? That's just too bad.
Thanksgiving is next week.
True. And
It
turkey
doesn't
really-
appear that it's going to happen. But I did read something that the 83rd precinct is collecting canned goods, etc. Did you see that that was in the newsletter?
We take the
Looks like they're back.
Hello, everyone. This is Barbara.
Hi,
Barbara.
I don't know who got the late notice, but we've been taking donations ever since the 18th. All the way up to the 18th, we're taking donations and giving out turkeys.
What's the deadline, Miss Smith?
No, who didn't get the memo? The flyer been on Twitter and Facebook that we started taking donations ever since the end of October, and the due date is the 18th.
Barbara, we can't hear you.
Barbara, you're muffled.
I said, we've been taking donations since the end of October.
Ladies and gents, I think we are back in the community
All right,
board.
folks.
Oh, good.
We should be back now. There was a brief audio issue. Can you hear us from
We
the
can hear
in-person
you.
space? Excellent.
And the
All
83rd
right, we're
appears
gonna
to be
let the
back
captain
now too.
continue. Yep, we're gonna let the captain continue his report. Go ahead, Captain.
Yes, so I was speaking on crime. Did you guys hear online that we were talking about property crime?
Right.
Yes.
Yes, so property crime is our
property-
major issue. We have opportunists out there. Most of which are substance abusers. You know, and we can get farther into, you know, if it's a crime issue, is it a public health issue? You know, we address the crime, you know, and we're going to make arrests as such. There's other resources that, you know, we push after the arrest, you know, to further give to these individuals. If they need help, they should get the help that they need. However, you know, we're focusing also on the victims in Bushwick. They come outside in the morning, you know, they're going to work, they're taking the kids to school, and now, you know, the window's busted open and there's several items missing, and that could be a heartache, that could be a headache in itself. So, like I said, to everyone listening, please pass the information along. Please do not leave your valuables inside of the vehicles. Help us combat this condition. So, you know, crime is up. However, arrests is up. We're up 22% in all arrests, 215 versus 175 for the 28-day period. And we also up year to date, 13.1%. So we're working very hard to address all of our crime issues. We have an excellent detective squad within the 83rd precinct, and they work tirelessly. I see them at work, you know, video canvassing. They do what's needed to bring everyone to justice. And, you know, I thank you all for having me tonight. If anyone has any questions, please feel free. Absolutely.
On again.
Are you there, Celeste? It appears that Celeste is having a problem with her feed. Somebody just wrote in the chat that they cannot hear anyone speaking. I just saw in the chat that Celeste is having a problem with the feed. They're trying to get back in.
Okay.
Barbara Smith, are you there? You were just talking about the collection for Thanksgiving. Did you want to, just to fill the space, continue to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm still here. We started collecting October 29th. We put it out on November the 1st, the flyer.
Okay.
And so let's put the flyer out. So I don't know, who.
Can you get closer to your microphone? It's.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better. Can you try again?
A little better. I think so. But I already have 100 people's name on our list that we've given turkeys to Tuesday.
Ms. Smith, could you share the information for people who would like to donate to support that?
Yeah, to bring your donation to the 83rd precinct, ask Officer Gomez or Lopez. and they my community affairs officer. Please, if you can bring a check, if you're gonna bring money, if you bring cash, just make sure that the officers give you a receipt,
Do
okay?
you guys so there's like no Zelly or something like that, Cash App or something?
Or Venmo, something like that,
Yeah,
PayPal?
the 83rd precinct has the cash app.
Oh,
Oh,
could you drop that in the chat, please?
I'll tell my treasurer to drop it in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had cash app now for the whole, almost a year or so now, because a lot of people have been donating a little bit to us and stuff. It's been good. So
Yeah,
like,
Barbara, I'm sorry, but for some reason your volume is very low.
but you
I
can hear
don't-
what she's saying, right?
Can you all hear her?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
then that means that your volume is low, Joanna.
Okay, could be.
Yeah, but so like I said, we giving them out. I'm not really out in the community, but I'm still doing stuff over the phone and email and text. So if you have anything you want to say or whatever to me, you can email me or text me. My email is Barbara, BAR.
Year to date, it's more along the lines of 100, and I saw the number today. It's 140s, 150s, right? We have operations mainly on Saturday, Sunday, Mondays, where we confiscate scooters, we issue them summonses, and in some egregious cases, we effect arrests. Because some individuals they have a suspended license with the suspended ability to operate any motor vehicle in New York State. So it is an issue. There's a lot of them out there, right? But we are addressing it to the best of our ability through confiscation.
So the ones with the pedals don't have to be.
The ones with basically, if it doesn't have a pedals.
They go just as fast as the others. A lot of them.
So unfortunately, we have to operate within the four corners of the law, right? So legally, those are permissible to be on the street if it has pedals. Most of them don't.
I'd like to add something on the bikes. I'm a lieutenant firefighter over here in Bushwick. We've been having there's been a rise citywide in fires due to these batteries, these lithium batteries. So if you're aware of anyone in your building that's storing them for charging them, just let them know that it's very precarious and dangerous. These things are lighting up, and we've had some major fires. There's over, I think the stat is around 300. Lately, just because of these batteries throughout the city, and a lot of some of these already caused a few deaths. So if you see anyone, neighbors or anyone in your building, it behoove you to make sure they don't store these batteries inside getting charged. They should be charged outside, if anything. They're all cheap, China-made batteries that they light up pretty quick.
Councilwoman.
I just had one question, but just in response to the e-bike battery piece, we are working in the council on legislation to have sanitation set up more disposable sites for those because we know they're causing fires in homes and also in our garbage trucks. So putting our sanitation workers at risk as well. But I had a question about the felony assault numbers. You said most of that is happening through domestic violence. What do you have a percentage?
I don't have the percentage on me right now, but I can get back to you with the exact percentage that's DV related.
Okay, yeah, I would love to have that update.
Okay,
thank you.
Just to add what as the gentleman stated with the e-bikes, if there's an e-bike at a location unattended, I don't even want to refer to e-bike because e-bike is legal. However, if this is a scooter, unregistered scooter that's in the lobby of a building unattended, call 311, call 911. We'll pick it up. We'll confiscate it. We have no problem with that. They're not legal. We'll voucher them. We'll invoice them at the precinct to determine true owner. And most of the time, people can't prove that they're the true owner of that device, that scooter. I definitely will get that number for you.
Stephanie Rice Anderson.
I just have one thing. I know I mentioned it at the A2 Precinct Council, and also I know for a fact that under 12 years old, you're not supposed to be riding No bikes, no regular, no scooter, no nothing one way, sideways, none. Because I was one of the victims when I was a young kid, younger, 18, 19, 20 years old, and I would get a summons for riding on a sidewalk. Now, everything is so cluttered. Now, you see all these e-bikes parking on a sidewalk. If you go to BK, I know I got several complaints on the board, tons of them, riding on a sidewalk. You got a bus stop there. You can't walk. People are complaining about, why is all these... Did you see the news of the 12-year-old girl on the guy that robbed on that scooter? Where was he? He was on a sidewalk. The bikes, they're on a sidewalk. If I see someone riding on a bike on the sidewalk, the first thing I do is move to the side. Because one, I don't know if he's going to knock me down. Two, I don't know if he's going to rob me. And that's exactly what that little girl did. She moved to the side thinking he was going to go by, went over there, she snatched the chain and dragged her. If we can prevent these people from getting on the sidewalk, the bikes and all that, eventually you got bike lanes now, and they want more bike lanes, and they want more this, and they want more that. Then give us our sidewalk. All we ask is for our sidewalk. Is it or is it not illegal to ride a bike or regular scooter or anything on a sidewalk? Yes or no? Because I know the law. I know it is, but I want to hear it from someone. Is it yes or no?
Yes. Short answer is yes. It's illegal to operate on the sidewalk. And as I stated, we're tasked at this point. The best corrective measure is to confiscate them, and I would say the vast majority of the scooters that we're confiscating, they're not getting it back. Legally, we know that there's a problem with it, and once they're in our possession, they have to jump through hoops and hurdles, which most people are not even willing to do for these scooters. So that's our course of action at this point.
Another thing that I see.
Excuse me, just a quick point of order. Before you speak, please say your name for our minutes. Your name, if you would choose not to disclose your name, you can just say you're a resident, but we need a name, especially from our board members. Thank you.
My name is Rodney Trujillo. Another thing that I see is the bike lanes not being used. You have a bike lane on the left side and the bikes are riding on the right side. I mean, the street is narrow already, and they're making it even more narrow. And then if you hit them, then, it's on you because they're on the bike.
So that's something that's new to my attention. But it also sounds like an education effort needs to be put out there so that the bikers can be aware that you should use the bike lanes for your own safety. So I'll look into that. Maybe we can do a coordinated effort with Department of Transportation and hand out some flyers if they have some flyers. This is new to me, so I'm not aware of anything that we have to educate. But if that is in fact happening, and I'm not saying it's not, right? I would say we should try to educate the community before we start issuing summonses for that. But it does absolutely sound like a safety issue.
For concerns like that, it's also helpful if you call the board's office, you let us know the location, the days, the time, and that way we can better coordinate with the PD and Department of Transportation.
Stephanie had her hand up. Stephanie.
My name is Ada Trujillo. I just have a comment to make. A couple of weeks ago, we noticed a huge presence of cops in the area in Bushwick, and they were in partnerships, right, and partners. But then a couple of days afterwards, we noticed that it was gone, and it was really good. It felt really good to see them on the streets and see them in so many different areas of Bushwick. But then it went away and it stopped. So can you address how that happens? Like you have a certain amount of cops in the streets for a couple of days, and then what happens? How does that coordinate it?
So our new officers, our brand new officers straight out of the academy, most of them, the vast majority of them, they're assigned to the borough. Not the precinct, not the 83rd precinct, but the borough that controls all the precincts in Brooklyn North in particular. And they deploy those officers as they deem fit. If there's a crime condition in this area or traffic related conditions, and they feel like, you know what, let's have officers here for a week, and then we're going to redeploy them over here because now we see something going on over here. That's how they utilize that personnel. And they're also in training, right? So they have supervisors with them to kind of like train them how to do. I don't want to say the little stuff because in NYPD, to me, there's nothing little, right? We treat everything little just as we treat the big things, right? But the easier things to deal with, right? As they're learning, they get deployed to address those conditions in that area at that time. But as you know, crime is fluid, right? It could be high in this over here 1 minute, and then it could be high over here, now low over there, right? So that's how they deploy, and they're normally at the borough disposal for the first six to 9 months before they get redistributed within the precincts of the borough, and then the new class comes in and they repeat the process.
We have some folks on Zoom. I'm going to just give them an opportunity. I see Stephanie and then Cassandra.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Anderson, and I was concerned about a trending robbery.
Hold on one second, Stephanie. We can't hear you yet. You can try again. Fingers crossed.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So there is a trending robbery scheme going on, whereas there are two cars. Your car is the first car, and then it gets bumped by the one in the back, and then you get out of your car, and two guys come and they steal you. They steal your possessions and also steal your car. Is that going on in Bushwick as well?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that crime happening in Bushwick, and I read all of our crimes. That in particular, motivation, I haven't come across that in Bushwick.
Okay, thank God. Thank you.
Cassandra?
So, my question pertains more to the discussion about e-bikes. I've also noticed a lot, not only in Bushwick, but just like throughout like Bed-Stuy as well, and Ridgewood, that like I think there should also be an educational effort about like people riding with traffic, as opposed, because I see a lot of like bike riders riding against traffic, and that can be dangerous for obvious reasons. But like I also see like on Bushwick Avenue a lot of like mopeds and scooters also like riding against traffic in like lanes where they shouldn't be, or like or if there's like one way that's like running this way, they might like come this way. And I just see it so frequently, and it can just like be such a potentially dangerous situation. So
Absolutely. So just to respond to you, over the summer, we've had joint coordinated operations with the Department of Transportation just to educate the public, in particular e-bike riders, on violations and ways that they can operate their bikes in a safe manner. I recall in July we had a coordinated effort on Wyckoff, because we did get complaints that people were operating their e-bikes on the sidewalks against oncoming traffic, and we were out there on Wyckoff between, I believe, Jefferson and Willoughby, handing out flyers with Department of Transportation. And that's I actually would like to credit the community board for that. They set that up between us. They made us aware of the issue, and we got in touch with Mr. Lawrence at the Department of Transportation, and we did that. So yeah, we don't, like I said, we're not just trying to summons everybody, the police department as a whole in every precinct, actually. I know in Brooklyn in particular, the scooters have been a major issue. And there's some precincts, they have a natural barrier to just scoop them all up. Like when I visited the 7-5 precinct, and they have that overpass over Atlantic Avenue, that overpass between East and Park, and they'll just stop traffic right at the end of the overpass, and these scooters, they have nowhere to go. So unless they're going to jump over the bridge, right? So at that point, they could just round them up and confiscate them all, right? Unfortunately, in Bushwick, and trust me, I checked. We have no natural barriers to help us affect those that level of addressing that condition. However, we have some very good officers, some motivated officers within our precinct that, when they hear a condition, when they hear the community cry out for help, they're more than willing to go far and beyond and take that extra effort to address these conditions.
I also wanted to just say that a lot of the reason why this is happening too is that delivery and app drivers have to meet certain time limits to deliver food, so that encourages them to break traffic laws in order to meet those deadlines. So I feel this problem needs to be addressed on a systemic level, in the sense that businesses should not be penalizing their riders for not delivering food in a certain time period. So that's something that I also would like to note in this forum. Thanks.
I got one more here, and I think that's it. It's one more.
Thank you, Cassandra. Last question in person, and then we have one in the chat.
Hi, my name is Ben Tucker. I'm a board member. I want to start by saying it's very encouraging to hear you say that traffic safety is public safety. A lot of my fellow board members were extremely concerned about that and raised that issue last month. And so while it is encouraging to hear that summonses are being issued and the numbers are up, I want to say that I feel it's still not sufficient. And looking at the data, there were 130 car crashes in our district last month, which averages out to about 4 a day. And yes, the failure to yield summonses are up, but there were still only 28 issued last month, which is fewer than 1 a day. And also in looking at contributing factors for vehicle crashes, there are a lot of factors that are making it into crash reports, but I don't see moving violations on the precinct's report for October, such as backing up unsafely, following too closely, improper passing, unsafe lane changes. I would say those factors add up to about 20% of the causes or contributing factors into crashes, and those offenses had 0 summonses issued for them last month. Following too closely, improper passing, unsafe lane change, unsafe backing up. According to the precinct's report, there was 0 summonses, 0 moving violations issued last month. And on the year to date, there's only 6 of them. And so my question is, if those are viewed as contributing factors to accidents, how come they're not being summoned? And I understand that you said that you can't just be out there issuing summonses to people, but I do think it does deter reckless driving.
After he finished, I'm going to speak on that.
So unsafe lane changing. We don't have a high amount of multi-lane roadways in Bushwick. To my knowledge, when I think of our major corridors from Broadway to Wyckoff, well, Bushwick Avenue is only 2 ways during certain time periods, right? But that's during rush hour, right? Which we do have a lot of collisions during those hours, but just so I don't want to falsely speak because I don't have the exact number, but driver inattentiveness, right, is a high percentage of the cause of accidents. I don't want to throw out numbers, but I believe that's the highest percentage, right? And what we do combat in terms of that is texting while driving, on the phone, and we do have a substantial amount of summonses served just in this 28 days. You have 14 for cell phones, 13 for texting, 21 for speeding. I already spoke on failure to yield, but then also, safety belts is that's not going to stop accidents, but that's going to keep our community safe, right? Our motorists safe, and we issue 36 in regards to that. What you can do is I can get you better numbers if you reach out to our community affairs office. That's actually a great question, and I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave it open-ended where you don't feel satisfied with the response, right? Because we want you to feel that. We want you to understand that our objective is keeping pedestrians and motorists safe, right? So please reach out. Thank you.
And then just one last question on the chat. E-bikes are being stolen from where you park them after use. How is that happening? Users of e-bikes are getting billed for those lost stolen bikes.
Okay, that is true. So we are one of our property related crimes, as I stated, that we are up in is grand larceny autos. We're up 24 versus 14. That's 71%. There are a lot of legal bikes, not just grand larceny autos, but grand larcenies. We would classify it as a grand larceny auto if it has a vehicle identification number, right? If it doesn't, then we'll classify it as a grand larceny, and e-bikes are being stolen. Grand larceny is a top major 7 crime. We take it very seriously, and we do investigate. But you have to call. You have to call and make a complaint. When you make a complaint, we'll canvass for videos, we'll canvass for witnesses, and we'll do our due diligence to investigate that crime. So we are doing that, and we are aware of that.
And my last comment is be careful what you wish for, because later on, I don't want to see everybody coming to the community board saying that the PD is going crazy, giving tickets out. And then we have people walking around with a phone recording the officers because they're doing their job. So you can't have it both ways. How's that one?
Thank you, Mr. Camacho, and thank you, Captain, for being here and answering all the questions. We will now move on. We are very fortunate this evening. We have both of our council members with us. And we will let...
Y'all must have planned that, right? I know y'all did yesterday, because yesterday... Oh, the colors. Oh, yeah, all right. That's good to know. Thank you, Carter. You did a good job. Give him a clap, man. So which one's gonna go first? We're gonna flip a card, or you want to? I don't want them to beat me up if I give it to the other one.
Oh, were we not that competitive? Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? I'll just be pretty brief because I know we're always running behind. I just wanted to say 2 things. One, in relation to the traffic safety and pedestrian safety, we did have a walkthrough earlier this month. I'm sorry, I don't even know what day it was, but I know it was sometime in October with the commissioner, the DOT commissioner, Idanis Rodriguez, with Celeste, our district manager, and 2 other district managers from CB3 and 16. We had Councilmember Osei join us. Councilmember Gutierrez was in a hearing that day. She couldn't join us, but was there in spirit. And we just did a walkthrough on Broadway to point out the intersections that were unsafe, potholes, and areas of Broadway that still have that gray concrete portion on it that is really just really badly damaged and is in deep need of repair. So we talked about a bunch of different things. We're going to do a follow-up with a full exhaustive list of all of the signs we're requesting, intersections we'd like for more information on. We've requested crash data and for them to make a commitment to ultimately a very expensive overhaul of Broadway. And so we're looking forward to pushing that forward, we're definitely going to need the support of the community. So for those of you who are interested in Broadway being repaired and redone, repaved, like we could really use your help in advocating for that and sustaining that energy with the Department of Transportation. So please reach out. The only other thing two other things I wanted to announce is the New York City redistricting process is pretty much over. So depending on where you live, you might be in a different council district. This has been a year-long process. There were at least 2 public comment periods that have now closed. Thank you for those of you who did submit testimony on how you want the council districts to be carved up. And there is some differences between the 34th and the 37th to be aware of. The 37th district ended up taking on quite a bit more of Bushwick. So Jen lost a bit of Bushwick, but I'm happy to gain some of Bushwick.
It was like a bittersweet, but I'm glad that it's going to an awesome representative.
So we'll continue to work together.
That was the one that tried to know.
Yeah, poor Camacho is not in, well, you're in Jen's district.
For life.
Yeah. So, just be aware of that. You can find out, you can see the district line changes at a website, nyc.redistrictingnu.org. So if you're interested in that, you can follow up with us, but just be on the lookout for that. And then lastly, wanted to share that also jointly, we will be doing a holiday tree lighting and trees lighting and procession. So we both got Christmas trees for the neighborhood. We'll start on Knickerbocker Plaza. So at Knickerbocker, right under the M train. And we're going to light the tree up, and then we're going to go under the lights that our previous Councilmember Dharma Diaz had invested in lighting for Knickerbocker Avenue. So we'll be there, and we're going to proceed down to Maria Hernandez Park and light a tree down there. So it'll be a very festive day. And that is on December 5th at 6 p.m. So we'll be sharing that around, but we'd love for you all to join us in the festivities. So that's it on my end. Just happy to see you all, keeping it short and sweet. If you need anything, you can always come to our office. We're at 1945 Broadway, right behind Broadway Junction. Love to have visitors to our office, and I'm going to pass it over to Councilmember Gutierrez.
Thank you. And Councilmember Nurse is very humble. She funded the tree lighting as well. I know she gave credit to the previous council member, but she also funded it this year moving forward. So I'm really excited to collaborate on that. Please join us on the 5th. Everyone is invited. So hello, thank you all. I know I've joined virtually, but I'm excited to be here in person. I'm sorry that it is on the same night as CEC 32. I know people have brought that up before, but I really hope in the new year we can work something out so that there can be representation for both really important community meetings. A couple of updates from our team on the legislative side. More in the last 2 months, we've passed 2 bills that I was really happy to sponsor. One being to support a pilot program to invest in doula and midwifery care for 13 of the most vulnerable communities in our city. I delivered my baby at Woodhall. I was very lucky to have a midwife and a doula. It's ancestral, it's indigenous. My grandmother was a midwife, and it keeps Black and brown women alive. So this program that has already started will work to invest in those communities with the intention of summarizing the benefits, what I believe are the benefits in June of 2024, and hoping to expand so that every woman and every pregnant person can have the same experience and have access to doulas and midwives. Pregnancy and childbirth does not have to be clinical. It does not have to be traumatic. And we're looking to change that. And the next bill is also a bill related to caregivers. It's the Marshall Plan for Moms. If you don't know, I'm a new mom, which is why this is what I'm focusing on. But it's a study to assess how to support caregivers. So many people, not just moms, but we're seeing more and more intergenerational people stepping in for childcare, grandmas, aunties, tias, uncles. And the idea is that we really need to support people trying to go back to work. On average, a woman will lose close to $500,000 in her salary because they are making the choice of either going back to work or staying at home. And it is a very common decision, and it's mostly impacting our women of color and immigrant women. And so the study will look to find out what we can do to support that. And in the end, provide more options, have folks go back to the workforce and support our economy. So I'm excited that we were successful in getting that passed along with our advocates. Locally, some of you, I think, may have attended. Our office has been doing mobile office hours in our 3 neighborhoods. So in Bushwick, we've been at Oak Street Health over on Knickerbocker. I know the first couple times we did it, we got some compliments. I was really happy that some board members had checked this out. We're putting the mobile office hours on hold now until the new year, but it's only because of the holidays, but we will be back. And for anybody who had participated in participatory budgeting, obviously we're still very much in that process at this point. And I think both of our offices are working on participatory budgeting, which is really exciting. All of Bushwick will be participating in PB, which is huge. That means all of your ideas will go directly to funding programs that are going to benefit Bushwick. So it's going to be really exciting. But right now we're just waiting to hear back from agencies. And obviously, if you've been involved with either one of our offices, you'll get updates as to when that next meeting will happen. And just uplift what Councilmember Nurse said regarding Broadway, I had done a walkthrough with Commissioner Rodriguez, I think a little bit before in other parts. As you know, there was a number of back-to-back cyclist death in my district, Morgan specifically being the closest to here, and then Weirfield in Ridgewood. And we should not ignore that the people that are at risk are, in both of these instances, were both immigrant men working. They were on their bikes delivering. And so these streets are really not as safe as they need to be. And so part of that conversation, and it goes along with Broadway. Broadway is a priority corridor in Vision Zero. The last administration deemed Broadway a priority corridor, but it was not respected and it was not realized as a priority. We saw upgrades in other parts of the city. We did not see it here in North Brooklyn. It's something that we're working closely on because we know how dangerous Broadway is. But the reality is that people continue to be at risk every time they leave their door to go to work. And so it's something that we are working on. And then lastly, I'll say, just with our advocacy to the Department of Environmental Protection, we remember Ida, we remember what Knickerbocker looked like last year. Last Friday, Knickerbocker was also flooded over on Hart Street, which is right at the border. So both Councilmember Nurse and I have been advocating to the Department of Environmental Protection to ensure that any green infrastructure money, wherever it comes from, whether it's from the federal government, the state, or the city, we need to make sure that that is coming to Bushwick. We do not have the time to waste. We know what our catch basins look like. They are over 100 years old. And it's certainly going to cost more than the $10 million that both Councilmember Nurse and I can afford in our capital budget. So we really need all hands on deck. So we're sounding the alarm. We know it impacts business owners, homeowners. So it's something that we're working very closely on. We're scheduling a tour in the next couple of weeks, actually, with the DP commissioner. So we'll let you all know so that you can join us. But we look forward to working with you all. We hope you can have our back when we are making a sink and sounding the alarm on how important equity is when we're talking about green infrastructure funds. It needs to happen in Bushwick. If it's happening in other parts and it's not happening here, it's not equitable. So thank you.
Wait 1 second. Let me give you the mic. Thank you. Needs it?
Are the homeowners being helped by DEP or something, putting pumps in their houses or something? I heard something about that. Just wanted some clarity on that.
I forgot it. I forgot the mic. That's a good question. So right now at the council, there is a bill to help homeowners subsidize the cost of the valve, which I think in some of these cases, in some of these like 1 to 2 family homes in Bushwick, I think will be very helpful. So hopefully we can pass that along so that it's subsidized, because my understanding of this back was, I think after Councilmember Nurse co-host sponsored a the town hall, but what was it? Was a flooding town hall?
It was,
An environmental town hall.
no, it was on with Office of Emergency Management.
Office of Emergency Management. So that valve, I was there, I just forgot. The valve seems to be a really big piece. So locally, that's something that we're doing, but so your question, there's not a bigger program to help homeowners in these instances. And the reality is because Bushwick is not considered a priority area, we're not getting the money. The communities that are getting this help that you're referring to are Southeast Queens, are some of the more waterfront communities. So we can look at it. But right now, the only one that I know of, unless there's just that Councilmember Brennan's bill, it's looking to subsidize this program for homeowners so that they have that option. And yeah, of course. No, and that's it. And the reality is that every time it's not rain from 10 years ago, right? It is raining, it is pouring. And it's really, we're very vulnerable. And it's also just the topography of Bushwick, right? We're on a slope. So depending on which side of Bushwick you are and you're a homeowner, you're getting it the worst. So it's something that we're working on. And I'm gonna hand it off to Councilmember Nurse.
The only additional thing that I would add is that thanks to our advocacy, there may be some options of prioritizing the stormwater basin upgrades in this area. They will be bringing some flooding sensors to do a study. We've specifically pointed to the area that has continued to be flooded on Knickerbocker. So that should happen in the beginning of the new year. So they'll be able to get the data for how fast this is happening, how often it's happening. We understand that it's frustrating because these are big projects that just take longer than the patterns are changing and the intensity of the storms are changing. So just wanted to mention that, but at the town hall with the Office of Emergency Management, they did offer to bring in an insurance expert. So many people are not getting flood insurance because they haven't needed it here in the so far inland, but now in this area where we're seeing just a little bit of rain is causing so much damage. That is something that we want to host something so that people can figure out the best option for themselves. The backwater valves themselves are about $12. It's the installation fee that's a lot. What DEP will also offer, they will come and help check one of your pipes. They did mention it here also at the CB4 presentation. They will for free come do an assessment, but if you actually need a valve, the installation would right now fall on the homeowner, but the valve itself is nothing. It's just that piece. And then we still have a bunch of those stormwater barriers. If you need one of those, we gave some out on Knickerbocker to the businesses that got flooding on, we gave some out on Sunday, but we have a bunch. If you would like some, contact us. I can follow up with you, but you can contact our office, but I'll follow up with you before you leave.
All right. Thank you.
So just a quick thank you for that advocacy. And you mentioned that you're planning on making a stink. How do we find that information to support you when you're raising your voices? Because we would love to join you, and we can have Bushwick have their voices heard.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry I use that word, making a stink. The reality is it's just raising our voices. Yeah, it's faster. But the reality is we need to raise our voices. Absolutely. And for a long time, nobody cared about Bushwick. And, you have two members that live in Bushwick. You have two members that are advocating for equity here. And so right now, we have an internal timeline, right? We have this walkthrough with the commissioner. We did post our joint letter on social media. I don't want to overstep, but we are talking about kind of what next steps are, potentially a press conference here. And so we are happy to share that with the board when that time comes. Hopefully it's very soon. But it all has to be very, timely in the sense that we have no more time, right? Every rainstorm is jeopardizing our streets, your homes. So we will send that information to CB4. And like I said, once we schedule that walkthrough, you will all know. But if you can, just follow us, follow our handles on social media, and you'll, I think, in real time be able to see kind of how we're communicating. And we can get your information before you leave, just to make sure so that. Yeah, absolutely. All my handles are at Jen Gutierrez NYC, and Councilmember Nurse is CM Cindy Nurse. But I'll get your information before you leave, so you can just be added to our listservs. Thank you. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, point of information, this is Joanna Bennett speaking. Anyone who comes to the mic, please identify yourself by name first, please.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, you're very low.
Can you hear me? I just want to ask
You
our,
still sound like you're far away.
You're muffled.
I want to ask our Councilwoman Nurse. how
Okay,
come
I
you-
might be able to hear you and then I can say what you're saying. Let's see.
I said, I want to ask our Councilwoman Nurse, how come she's not beautifying Urban Square Park? She went all the way down to the end of Brooklyn.
She heard you. Sorry, there are two Barbaras speaking at the same time. So Barbara Smith just asked a question about Irving Square Park.
I want to beautify it faster than we've given so much money to the Parks Department, both for maintenance workers, for Playground Association. We've ordered trees and the money's out there. It's been given. So this is now an effort we're going to need your voices. Let's continue to make us think. I mean, the more of us that are really advocating for this, because the resources have been put there. We took the need from the district needs survey that many of you all participated in. That's a very important process because we pulled directly from that. And we allocated a lot of funding for it. So it's been there since June 30th. And now it's on parks to put those resources on the ground, including the maintenance workers to deal with the trash, the playground associate, which will run programming, that will be in the spring. The challenge for Irving Park is we cannot put a lot more programming in because we don't have a bathroom. So even for the playground associate, we're going to have to work something out to use a bathroom nearby. We're hosting movies that will be scheduled for when it's warmer. There'll be 3 movies this year in Irving. We did a bunch of stuff. So we're trying to put more activities and programming in there. But in terms of actual infrastructure, we've given the money. So we're happy to work with anybody who wants to nag parks. We'd love to have extra support in getting them to move any faster. Just any faster would be welcome at this point. But thank you, Ms. Barbara.
We still could get a tree there. You can't get a tree?
A tree.
Oh yeah, we ordered, we allocated for this district to parks, almost like we ordered something like $50,000 worth of trees. Each tree costs like $3,500 to install. And we're technically not allowed to say exactly where they can go, but we can suggest areas. So we're not allowed to say this pit, this pit, this pit, but we can say we want this area of Bushwick to be covered. So we did buy a lot of trees. We just, waiting for them trees to come.
This is Annette Spellin. I used to be the Parks Chair for the Community Board, and I want to say this to you. You have to stay on top of them. We had money allocated to us before, and all of a sudden they redirected the money away from Irving Square Park someplace else. So you have to stay on top of them.
Ms. Spelling, I'm gonna make sure they do, because I really know what you're talking about. And we want to make sure that we get that money in there, and we're gonna be speaking to the commissioner, Mayor Celeste, and making sure that we're gonna put some heat on him, make sure that he put that park the way we want it.
So just a point of clarification, the Parks has no capital budget. All funding for Parks project comes from the city council, your borough president, and your mayor. So you know exactly who to ask when you need a park renovation. The community board has no funding for parks, but we work together to advocate to make sure that we get what we need. And I am also happy to share, we did get a complaint in the board's office about the space in Irving Square Park between the plaza and the flagpole. It's been been significantly eroded. It's basically a big muddy pit. When I spoke to the commissioner about it, he did say that they can reseed it. That's something that they generally start in the fall, I believe, and then it comes in the spring. So they'll close it off. If you see any enclosures, don't be alarmed. That is them trying to reseed that portion of the park, and hopefully it won't be destroyed again. Anyone else? Chat questions for our council members? Last call.
Well, Celeste, this is me. So
Go ahead, Barbara.
So we're not going to have a tree in the park like we used to have when you were there. We used to have a tree decoration.
You mean the winter celebration in Irving Square Park?
Yes. So if I want to sell, I have to go all the way down to Wyckoff and Knickerbocker.
So Knickerbocker Plaza, yeah, on Knickerbocker Myrtle. It sounds like there's going to be one there this year instead. They're switching it up, but they can consider it for next year. Go ahead.
Yeah. And just to clarify that program, so the Brooklyn Alliance, Brooklyn Chambers, that money was allocated for the neighborhood development grants, only $40,000, and that was to go to Knickerbocker lighting. And because they had already done the pre-installation work last year, there was a little extra money and we got a tree. They wanted to run it there because the Brooklyn Chamber isn't doing something in Irving. So this is where they were doing it, but we can certainly consider that for next year. I can't remember how much it costs, but yours is in a park. Yours is in the park. Yeah. Okay. So we can consider it for next year for sure.
I think sometimes they just forget about this end of Bushwick, you know, from Halsey back, or I might even want to say from Gates back and Evergreen. They forget about us at this end. You know, our kids don't even have a after school center. They have to go all the way down to Central Avenue. And if you live up here on Chauncey and Evergreen, that's like kind of a walk. And, you know, I just want you guys to remember that we are part of Bushwick, descendants part of Bushwick. That's all I'm saying.
I happen to agree with you. We should have a tree at River Square Park like we have every year. I don't know what Celeste did, but we should have a tree lighted up there. Sorry.
Listen, I'll buy the tree. I'll tell you what, I'll buy the tree. You guys get the decoration. We do our own if they don't want to do it. How's that?
You're the best, Robert. You're the best.
Okay, tree, but what we're going to do it, we're going to do it together. Let's get it going on. I'll buy the tree.
Friday. We'll start Friday.
No, it's supposed to come from the council people. It's not supposed to come from the person.
Excuse me, point of order. Too many people speaking at one time. And please identify yourself.
Thank you, Madam Parliamentarian. We have one hand raised.
Good evening. This is Joshua Brown, Vice Chair CB4. I just want to give our council person a special thanks as we got to celebrate with her this past month at the Bushwick Film Festival. It was their 15th annual festival, and it was great to see the councilwoman out as well as her team.
Thank you, Josh. All right. So I don't see any more hands, nothing in the chat. Thank you to both of our council members for being here. All right, yes, a round of applause. All right, that concludes our public hearing agenda this evening. We got through it, everyone. We will now move on to our regular meeting agenda. Thank you, everyone, for making this a dynamic and informative public hearing portion. Moving on, board members, please be ready for the first roll call. Isa Abni.
Here.
Stephanie Anderson.
Here.
Grace Aites. Joanna Bennett.
Here.
Joshua Brown.
Present.
Raul Brown.
Present.
Robert Camacho.
Here.
Melissa Carrera Solano.
Present.
Felix Ceballos.
Present.
Andrew Choi.
Here.
Alvina Davis. James Fitzgerald. Freddie Fowler. Joanna Fuentes.
Present.
Christopher Graham,
Present.
Ann Guiney,
Present.
Jose Guzman, Hadia Harrison, Tanisha Honeygan,
Present.
Barbara Jackson,
Present.
Cheryl Jones.
Sorry, Jose Guzman present, sorry.
Got you, Jose. Thank you. Cheryl Jones, Virgie Jones, Luisa Jose Olea,
Here.
Nicholas Kaplan,
Here.
Koibe Koti, Cassandra LeVay,
Here.
Mary McClellan, Imani Mitchell,
Here.
Desmond Monroe, Sammy Namir, Zuma Navoa,
Present.
Got you, Z. Kyle O'Rourke, Asaya Polite.
Present.
You can only do one thing at a time. Thank you, Asaya. Gladys Bulia.
Present.
Thank you. Raul Rubio, Eliseo Ruiz,
Here, thank you.
Milagro Sangroval, Bernardina Shell. Thank you. Barbara Smith, Maria Soler, Dustin Sanborn, Annette Spellin,
Present.
James Stewart,
Present.
Leo Teneo, Ben Tucker, Jerry Valentine,
Present.
Tashana Wade.
Present.
Thank you. And Carlotta Williams.
Present.
I didn't hear my name, Celeste.
Can you say your name?
Thanks, Ann. It's Millie Sandoval.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Thanks.
35 board members present. That constitutes a quorum. Thank you, everyone. We will now move on to the acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion from the board?
I make a motion that we accept the agenda.
Rose seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
abstentions? So moved. Agenda item number 3, acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion from the board?
Make a motion to accept the
Mr.
previous minutes.
Mr. Camacho made a motion to accept. Is there a second?
I second.
Melissa Carrera beat you to it. Seconds the acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Agenda item number 4, chairperson's report. Mr. Camacho.
Thank you, everybody. Well, on January 22nd, I was at the SBS in Maria Hernandez Park. Thank you, Sharon, and Barbara Jackson was there. It was nice and cold that day. We were giving literatures, and it was really freezing that day, but we did a good job. We gave up all the stuff we had in the office, we gave away. So Celeste, don't worry about it. Everything is gone, because I know we were out there giving it away on Thursday, October 20th, PS75 on Zoom, CSE. I was on 6 o'clock. That same day, October 20th at 6 p.m. Home Garden. I was here with our council person, Sandy Nurse, in regards to the emergency storm preparation town hall we had here. That's what she was talking about. I was here in 2 meetings. I was laughing, but it was all right. I was doing 2 things at the same time. I don't know how I do it, but it was done. I was here. She gave me one of those rain things. It's pretty big. I thought it was you fill it up. She said you got to fill it up with water. I said, you actually think I got to fill my water and my bill going to go up? Nah, I'm going to get one of them rain buckets and fill it in and then fill the thing up, because I'm not wasting my water on that. I need my water bad than a pig need a slot. All right, but that's the point. October 24th at 6 p.m., CB4 EPTS and Parks. November 26th, 274, there was a town community service need there from 9 to 1. I stood there with a community resist, and we were giving out literatures and stuff there in 274 on Thursday the 27th at 6 p.m. I was in the workshop. Thank you for Housing and Land Use, everybody that was there. On Tuesday, November 1st, Book and Borough President meeting. Let me look at my back. Anything important in the report that I might address, which I think was addressed real quick in regards to the open meeting law that they just amended for the borough boards. I think that if you on the borough boards, if my memory tells me that if you're on Zoom, you can vote on you can vote on something. I know you could be part of the meeting, but you can't. Only the people that are. It's supposed to be a percentage of the people that have to be on the meeting in order to be part of the quorum. Correct? I'm trying to correct. So you got to have a quorum first, not the people with the people on Zoom. Is that right? I got that. In person, they're supposed to be past a quorum in person first before you can make recommendations and serve the quorum. Because if not, you don't got no quorum. Everything is informational. Correct? So far, so good. Okay. I knew it was something like that. All right. On Wednesday, the executive board meeting, we met on Friday the 24th at 10. Hope Garden update in the RAD conversion. Saturday, the 5th at 10:30, co-naming. I wasn't there. I was on vacation. Thank you, Sandy Nurse, Marissa Davila. We got someone, Carmelo, was named the block after Carmelo. Very good. It's someone from the community. He lived there all his life, his whole family. And thank you, guys. I said, thank you, Sandy Nurse. Thank you, Marissa Davila. It's on Gates Avenue and Myrtle Avenue. I was on Zoom. I was so happy. On November 7th at 3:30, the ACU involvement consultant health on Wyckoff community service plan. I know there's a community survey that they're trying to do. I know me and Celeste is gonna fill you in on the remaining details because it was really intense in regards to services that they want to bring in Wyckoff. They're doing a survey. November 7th, CB4, the ED and PLC meeting. They'll speak on Wednesday, the 9th at 10:30, CB4 District Service Cabinet. President was DC 32, DOT, the A3 Inspector, SMS, NYCHA, Gotham Health, NCY, Department of Health, Mental Hygiene, Department of Buildings, Department of Aging, Department of Parks, both Assemblywoman's representative, Council representative, Senator representative. They all were on the meeting, and thank you guys for being with us together and supporting us. On Wednesday the 9th at 12:30, the A3 Community Advisory Board. That's what the captain was talking about. I am part of that advisory board, and the advisory board was introductions, goal, overview, feedback, summary events, identify top community concerns for engagement purposes, design a plan for action development, and then final comments and concerns. So hopefully it's supposed to be pretty good. Let's see if it works. We want to do both. We want to make sure that we serve the community and also help the officers that are there too, to make sure that the officers there too are doing what they have to do. We know they work for the city, but we want to make sure they have their time too, and make sure they have a family too, for them to spend time with their family too. Everything can be work and no play. So on Wednesday the 9th at 2 p.m. Meet public. We also met with Alexander, Public Safety Committee, and all the supervisors were there in regards in CB4 at 2:00. Kimberly was with us. We met with them in regards to some of the public safeties that have been going on 1329. Willoughby. There's a lot of concerns in that area in regards to when people come out of a venue. We don't know what's going on in there. I know they're trying to do something about that. There's been a lot of complaints. On Wednesday the 9th at 6:30, the Arts and Culture Committee met. On November 10th at 2 p.m., the FCNY project, CB4, Bushwick Economic Development met. On Thursday, the 10th, CB4 Health Services and Senior Center Committee met on Thursday, the 10th at 6 p.m. Patrol Borough Moscow Community Partners. On Sunday, November 13, I went to the wake of our board members, Reverend Avina Davis. His mother passed away. God bless her. Keep her, please, guys, keep her in our prayers. There's only one mom, man, but yeah, we're gonna. I went there. It was thank you for Barbara Jackson and what's the name of that? Another board member went, and Wednesday the 16th, the 83 precinct clergy. I was there today, and CB4 meeting, and that is it. Oh, before I even, this is the best part, attendance review. Not improved. We got several people that not improved. I know at the district, the district office meeting, when we meet, we're gonna address it with the committee. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not blowing nobody's name up. I know we got people that were approved. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people improved. We got one that flag. I'm not gonna mention the name, but they know who it is. We got no action required at this time. I know who that person is, so he's not. We really need to come to these meetings and come to the committee meetings, because if not, if we don't do our job here, when we submit attendance to the borough president, they're gonna do their job. So we want to make sure we do ours. So I guess that is it. Anything else, Celeste, you have for me? No, we good to go. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Any questions for Mr. Camacho's report? Going once, going twice. All right. Hearing none, we will move on to the introduction of elected official representatives. Please raise your hand if there are any representatives that are on Zoom this evening. I know we also have, I believe, one in person, at least one. So this is the time. Name and contact information only. Go ahead, Lacey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lacey Tauber, Legislative Director for the Brooklyn Borough President's Office and also the rep to CB4. I will drop my contact information in the chat.
Thank you. Carlos?
Hi, everyone. This is Carlos Calzadilla. I'm the Director of Community Relations for State Senator Julia Salazar, and I'll also drop my information in the chat.
Julio?
Good evening, everyone. Julio Salazar here from Congresswoman Nadia Velasquez's office. Introductions only, no?
Yes.
So my new email, my new email is julio.salazar@mail.house.gov. Office phone number is 718-599-3658. Thank you.
We know you're gonna leave Bushwick.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Pomboza. I bring greetings from District Attorney Eric Gonzalez. I'll put my information in the chat, but my office line is 718-250-2817. Thank you.
And Fran?
Fast. Sorry, it's a hype. I'm Fran, council member, nurses, community organizer. My number is 646-793-1119.
Thanks for cheering for us, Fran.
Thank you. You were sharing for the wrong one.
All right. We will move on now to introduction of agency and community-based organization representatives. If there are any agencies or CBO reps on now, this is the time. Please raise your hand or in person. Going once. Oh, Cynthia, go ahead.
Hi, Celeste. Cynthia Pena-Ortiz, Program Director of the Bushwick Community Partnership. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm out of breath. Cynthia Pena-Ortiz, Program Director of the Bushwick Community Partnership.
Contact info.
I'm going to drop it in the chat.
Perfect.
We also have the property manager here at Hope Garden, so I'm gonna put her on the spot. So let me just tell her to give you your number, her name, and then I'm not gonna put her on the spot. Let her do her own talking.
Good evening, I'm Iris Cruz. I'm the area property manager for Hope Gardens. Our telephone number is 646-813-0792. And our address is 314 Wilson Avenue.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Priscilla Romero. I'm the Regional Parent Advisor for Families Together of New York State. We're contracted by the Office of Mental Health. We provide a family peer advocate credentialed for caregivers who have experience navigating multi-child serving systems.
Hi, Priscilla, excuse me. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. This is just name and contact information only right now.
Okay, I will put my contact information in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. And Anton, one more person, name and contact info only, please.
Hi, everyone.
Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. This is Anton Nimblett. I'm Program Director at Volunteers of America Bushwick Family Residence. We're at 1675 Broadway, and we're 718-574-2701.
Thank you for joining us. I believe that's everyone. All right, we will move on. And I believe that concludes our chairperson's report, as we already heard from the A3 precinct. And we will now move right into the district manager's report. So good evening, everyone, and happy belated Hispanic Heritage Month. I think we're still going. We're still celebrating Veterans Day. And now it's Puerto Rican Heritage Month. Thank you, council member. Boricua Day every day in Bushwick, and Election Day. I hope everyone was able to vote and voice their opinions last week. District needs overview. I know we've been talking a little bit about the board's budget process the past few months, but just to outline it for everyone, the board held their annual budget committee meeting on Monday, September 26th. We had our district needs survey launch on Friday, September 23rd. Our district needs town hall, first ever, on Wednesday, October 12th, and the CB4 district needs public hearing on Wednesday, October 19th. The process concluded with our submission. I believe that was Friday, October 28th. We were on time. The deadline was October 31st. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to the board, all of our volunteers for getting us in on time. And so I know the question on everyone's mind is what's going on with the survey? What is the data? So I have some preliminary survey data. So who responded, right? That's the most important question. We had 192 responses. 51.6% or 99 are aged 30 to 39. 66.7%, 128 identified as female. 44.3 or 85 selected 11237 as their zip code, followed by 37.5%, 72 for 11221, 12%, 23 for 11206, and 5.7, only 11 people for 11207. So that tells us next year we have to do some targeted outreach in 11207 and most likely 11206. And then 70.3%, 135 people who completed this survey have not attended a community board meeting in the past year. So hopefully we can convince more folks to join us and voice their opinions in our meetings in addition to completing the survey. The general insights that have been gleaned so far, there's a lot of frustration. There's a negative impression of the environment, crime, graffiti, garbage. The next steps and identified needs, the board's office will prepare a report with the data, the feedback for the committees to review. This will eventually be shared with our elected officials. It'll be shared with the city agencies, and of course, all of our community partners that contribute to resolving some of the issues that were flagged. Help is needed. Community boards have a very limited staff. We have right now 48 board members, only 3 staff, including myself. So a lot of the work that we do is limited to what we can do within a short period of time. You heard me mention from September 26th to October 19th, that's like a month. We did like 4 big milestone events. We welcome support with translation, with targeted outreach. We only want to make this bigger and better. So we'll be discussing it and strategizing and working with our elected officials and how we can improve, this process moving forward. And of course, better align it with participatory budgeting. Our FCNY fellows, so that stands for the Fund for the City of New York. We have 2 this year, one for our sanitation working group. They'll be completing a report in partnership with the working group as well as with the board sanitation committee. We also have an economic development fellow who will be conducting some commercial corridor surveys and working closely with the economic development committee on a report as well. District office update. I already talked about staff capacity limitations. I also want to say thank you to our board leadership and board members for support. There was a week in the past month where we had one staff member out sick, one was on vacation. I was in the office by myself for a week, thought I was going to lose my mind. A board member did come by one day to give me a break so I can get some lunch. I also want to point out that this is a common experience with small staffs. There are community boards across the city that have 1 employee. And it's very overwhelming. So myself, I was fortunate. It was just 1 week. I can only imagine what it's like when it's permanent, or at least permanent for the time being. And some easy ways to get more involved. I'm always asked, like, I want to help. What can I do? The easiest way, join the board's email list. We send newsletters. I try not to send too many. There are 2 per month. One is with our meetings every month, the committee meetings, including the full board meeting, and of course, notices and other events that are happening. And then there's a newsletter that's sent right before this meeting, a week before, that includes the public hearing and regular meeting information. You can also attend those meetings, or the ones that interest you. And there are various working groups that meet year round as needed. Our sanitation working group, which we will probably be phasing it into something different this year. We know our council member has a trash task force. We also know we have the chair of our sanitation committee, Sandy Nurse. So we have a lot of support as it relates to sanitation, which is great. We also are hoping to phase in a Bushwick homeowners working group. So more information will be available on that. We'll be taking the folks that have been working with us around historic preservation and hopefully building on that group. Historic preservation will still be one of the items discussed. It just won't be the only item. So hoping to grow some of the tools and resources for that group. And then also our arts and culture working group. And there are more ways. So some folks here this evening have submitted an application to become a non-board committee member. You can do that by submitting a form online. You can contact the office for more information. What that means is that after reviewing your application, if you are appointed to a committee, you are now part of that committee and can chime in on some of the matters that affect the district. It's not a position where you are able to vote. However, you do count towards quorum for that committee. And you can always explore other volunteer opportunities at local community-based organizations, local groups, and the community board. And of course, the ultimate, and we just got an email about it today, you can apply to become a community board member. I believe the application in Brooklyn is now live on the borough president's website. And to summarize the meetings and events I've attended in the past month, I won't go through all of these. We've been speaking with our fellows about their projects, getting plans set up for how they're going to engage with the committees and groups that they're working with. We've also continued the work for the future of community boards. Some of you may recall there is an effort for district managers citywide to address some of the challenges that we all share by coming up with solutions and working with those that can help us improve the circumstances. We've also had other events and meetings. Our Center for Urban Pedagogy Collaboration, also known as CUP, continues. We will be rescheduling the final workshop, which was supposed to be the first Thursday in December. More information will be available on that soon. Let's see. And I was invited to attend a really cool meeting, Resilient People, Places, and Projects. It is part of the Department of Design and Construction's Town and Gown program. There's a working group called the RP3 Working Group, where they talk a little bit about the projects that academia are working on to better understand the needs on the ground for communities as it relates to utilities, upgrading utilities, and better coordinating all of those parts. So we talked a little bit about flooding this evening. We talked about how difficult it is for the city to complete capital projects. This working group is looking at the gaps in between knowing what the problems are and how we can better work together, right, with folks on the ground, folks at the agencies, our elected officials to coordinate responses. And we continue to have our sanitation working group meetings. We also, I'll elaborate a little bit on what Mr. Camacho mentioned in regards to the Wyckoff Community Health Needs Assessment. So every, I believe, 2 years, they are required to do a health needs assessment. We were able to provide some preliminary data taken from this year's district needs survey under the health portion. They also have some initial insights as well, and we'll be circulating the survey to the board, and it'll be available to the public. For those that would like more information, you can either contact our office. We also encourage you to reach out directly to the folks coordinating the survey. More information will be available on the board's website. And let's see. And that concludes my report. Thank you, everyone. You have something?
I also want to chime in on her report and make sure that all our committee chairs that want Celeste to do their reports to please break it down. We don't want to keep, remember, we record it and then they have to go back and do the report, and we don't want to keep we waste all the time saying things that we're not supposed to say instead of just going directly in there. She has to go through the whole tape just to write the report. But if you guys are going to do the report, let's say, for instance, if I had a House and Land Use meeting today, hopefully by tomorrow or the next day, I should be telling Celeste, I'm not going to do my report. Could you do the report and break it down? She don't mind, because if she has all this work to be doing everybody's report and all the stuff that's going on now, nothing is going to get done. So we also can accumulate all the days. I run a tight ship in regards to the days, because I don't want them rolling over days and then some people leave and then we got to pay off. So we don't want to do that like other places. We want to make sure that they take their time. I want to make sure if they're sick, they get their sick day. If they want to go on vacation, go on, not accumulate time constantly, because we don't have to be paying. We want to make sure that, and we also want to make sure, just for everyone, Bushwick has grown and we still with 3 people. Explain that one. Bushwick has grown. We got all these buildings, all these people. Don't you think that not only that, our sewer systems and our waste, with all these buildings and all these people, we never had that before. Now we got it more and more and more and more. Now we're getting floods and everything. So why can't we get staff to work? You know, we need staff. We really do. So we're trying to see if I'm also going to talk to the borough president, see what is it that we can get to get a help. Not only that, we're trying to go on all those electrical gadgets now, to go on Zoom. You need somebody to be on there and keep updating it. And the emails constantly that we get, and some of the complaints we get on the phone, 3 people. And then we got to do a budget breakdown. And then we got to make sure everybody that's on there, and we get cited every year, we got to do a report. And we have to do all these things, but yet no help. So we're going to need y'all guys to help us out. So Celeste, I'm here for you. I'm going to try to do whatever I can do to make sure we get someone, if it's someone part-time, that we can have to operate the gadgets that's supposed to be done in regards to emails, doing the webs that we did, update the newsletter, get all the information that you guys bring to us that we got to put in, the complaints that we get when people call. Now we got Hope Garden alone is a separate thing that I deal with, and I always pound it down. But thank God I have Iris, and before I even call the city on them, I make sure Iris take care of it. And if I didn't take care, then I call the city and go after, and I'm only kidding, sir. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. And just to elaborate on the budget concerns for the board, the boards have had a baseline budget that has not changed since they were selected since the outer borough boards were created by the city charter in 77. If they have changed to some extent, it's only been to accommodate tenure of the actual staff. And so if a staff member has a certain amount of years, they have to, and especially if staff is union staff, only the staff of the office or union district managers are not union staff. However, the board can opt to select a raise for the managers. Now, anything that happens for that manager or any of the staff has to happen within a set budget. That budget itself has not changed. So every year, the board has thankfully put on the district needs statements that there needs to be an investment in an increase for the baseline budget for community boards. This is also a shared priority amongst all community boards who are struggling to retain staff, to hire staff, and continue to better serve and effectively serve their communities. In reference to accrued leave, this is something that we flagged in the office several years ago. There was a staff person who had, I believe, over a year of accrued leave and was requesting that they continue to accrue their leave. We, respectfully told that person that should they decide to retire, it would negatively impact the board's office. And from that point on, it was a choice. It was an option. The board chair could decide whether or not to roll over that time. And at that time, it was not deemed something that would benefit the agency, meaning the board. And so that practice was changed and that leave was then converted to sick leave. So it's not lost, it's just not kept as vacation. And thankfully, everyone is encouraged to use their vacation, and barring any extreme, circumstances, no one has any accrued leave at the end of the year. So thank you, Mr. Camacho. All right, we will move on now to our committee reports, starting with arts, culture, technology. Dustin?
Hello, everybody. Give me 1 second. Back in for a sec. Hey.
Oh, we can't hear you now. We were hearing you before.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Let me pull these right back up. So we had our meeting last Wednesday, and the main part of the meeting was we had a presentation from Doris, which is the Department of Records and Information Services, about their Neighborhood Stories Project, which is a storytelling initiative, like an oral history by the agency. And they gave us a lot of really good background about all the stories they're trying to tell, and really most importantly to us was their ability to accommodate anyone and everyone who wants to tell their story as part of the city's archives. And we've been discussing on our committee for a while a kind of time capsule or Bushwick history project to show the changes in the neighborhood and what it was and what it's becoming and all that. And so they were able to come and present to us the city's way of doing the similar thing. And it was really great. They left us all their contact information. Hopefully we will be able to do a little bit of outreach and get some of the Bushwick stories told for this program and be able to present some of them in a future board meeting, and even have them come in for a presentation for the full board. But like I said, it was really informative, really interesting meeting. They left all their contact information, which I'm going to read off to you guys, and then I'll be done with my part. So for their what they really need are volunteers to record, transcribe, and translate some of these stories, and people to tell their stories. They have an Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that. But so main things, their Instagram and their Twitter are both stories_NYC. And to contact them as a volunteer or general inquiries, you go to the email stories@records.nyc.gov. And for volunteer opportunities, volunteer-coordinator@records.nyc.gov. All that information is in our board report, or our committee report. And I think that was the main part of the meeting, and I don't want to take too much time.
Thank you, Dustin. Any questions? Arts, culture, technology? Going once, going twice.
And
All right.
just to note that I I assume Kimberly just put it all in the chat, all that information. I shared the contact information. So if you want to have a story to tell, or you know someone who has a story to tell, or you're able to take those stories in, please contact these guys. It's a really cool program.
All right, we're going to move on. Thank you, Dustin, and thank you, Kim. We're going to move on now to our Economic Development plus Permits and Licenses meeting.
Good evening, everyone. The Economic Development and Permits and Licenses Committee met on Monday, November 7th, 2022 at 6 p.m. We moved our meeting due to elections. We wanted to be mindful and make sure everyone had the opportunity to go vote. And I just want to kick us off a little bit differently on my report because there's been the question just around process and committee and what we're able to do and not do. So I just want to reiterate and remind everyone that the role of the committee is an advisory role. And ultimately, the business does go to SLA with our stipulations, with our letters of recommendation, and ultimately the SLA responds and gives them their license. So just a reminder that the process exists, that we have stipulations in place, that we try to do our best to build community with businesses and establishments coming into Bushwick. There's only so much we can do. And if you all have concerns, we really want to urge you to attend our committee meetings, have your voice be heard. We did have someone attend this meeting last 2 weeks ago, and it was really helpful just to hear from our neighbors. So just wanted to start off by saying that. And we had two establishments looking for a license application. The first establishment is Dive Bar BK, located at 29 Wyckoff Avenue, looking for a full liquor license. This is right between Troutman Street and Star Street on Wyckoff. So just a reminder to paint a picture for everyone. It's a very crowded area. We have a lot of establishments there already. The business owner is from Queens. He is a native who's owned and operated 4 establishments through the borough, and he's looking to open a bar and tavern with a short food menu in Bushwick, Brooklyn. So he has also explained to us that he has done some turkey drives. He's done some community engagement and plans to host the same events in Bushwick once the business is up and running. Their intended sale of alcohol hours are as follows: Monday through Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., Thursday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 a.m., and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. And I myself and Mr. Camacho requested some clarity regarding the type of establishment that the application was applying for. Originally, they were listed as a nightclub, but they did clarify that it will be operating as a bar and tavern. The amended hours to meet our stipulations and guidelines were submitted on November 11th. And we also did remind the establishment of no amplified music, no sales of alcohol past 12 a.m. on Sundays, outdoor spaces to be closed by 10 p.m. And the owner agreed to all of these stipulations. We also did encourage the owner to get in touch with the 83rd to get to know their NCO, to start to build out those relationships, and to also post any job opportunities on the Bushwick Jobs Board as it relates to any future job postings. And we did invite them to join us today if they wanted to share a little bit about the business. I'm not sure, Kimberly, if they're here today. They're here. Oh, if you'd like to say a few words about the business.
Hello there. My name is Alex Marchetti. The one proposing for the license at this premise. I have a concept that I have in Long Island City. It's called Dive Bar LIC, and I'm planning to do the same in the Bushwick area. Predominantly, we sell alcohol, but we do have an extensive food menu as well.
Thank you, Alex.
Yes.
And the second establishment that we had at the meeting was 384 Nick LLC, located at 384 Knickerbocker Avenue between Stanhope and Stockholm Street, looking for a full liquor license. This is right on Knickerbocker Avenue. The establishment type is a bar and tavern, and the business owner has experienced and owns 6 establishments through Brooklyn. One of them is in Bushwick, a couple in Williamsburg, and their intended sales of alcohol hours are as stated, Monday through Wednesday, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., Thursday through Saturday from 2 p.m. to 4 a.m., and Sunday from 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. We inform the owner of our stipulations, of course, as we do with all establishments, no sales of alcohol past 12 a.m. on Sundays, no amplified music, outdoor spaces must be closed by 10 p.m. And the owner was in agreement with all of the stipulations. They will not be participating in the open restaurants program. And the owner did gather over 100 signatures from neighbors within a 5-block radius in support and acknowledgement of this establishment, which will be a sports bar, which I don't think we have one on Knickerbocker Avenue, to my knowledge. Yeah, a sports bar. Oh,
It's on Troutman.
oh, okay. So there is one nearby. And we did inform the owner of the Bushwick Jobs Boards, and then also to attend the meeting if they wanted to share a little bit more information on the business. Kimberly, are they on? Is Max on? Okay. So Matthew is not on. And we did have one renewal application, 1157 Myrtle Avenue, located on Broadway and Troutman Street. This is a bar and tavern. This establishment did receive 13 311 calls. We did invite the establishment to come to the committee meeting and just tell us a little bit more about the noise complaints. They did not attend. We do work within a 30-day window to submit anything to the SLA. So we did provide stipulations for the establishment to the SLA and did invite them to join us in our December meeting on the 13th at 6 p.m. So we hope that they'll be able to join us and just fill us in on what's happening there. The area is very crowded. There's a lot of noise already happening. It's right by Myrtle and Broadway. So we'll learn more hopefully in our next meeting. And that sums up my report. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Going once? Going twice?
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a question. I know that we, as a community board, encourage these folks to, pretty much, job opportunities. Is there a way we can track the job opportunities that are given to Bushwick residents from these establishments?
That's a great question. So we do have the Bushwick jobs portal, which I'm not super informed on the back end. I think Desmond, if he's on, can speak to it a little bit more. But we are tracking all the businesses that are coming in who are going to be having some job opportunities on there. And we do follow up with them every time they do come up for renewal to make sure that they are meeting all of the things they said that they would do coming into Bushwick. But I don't know, Celeste, if there's any formal way of us following up as of right now.
There's no system. Something that could be done is just a routine follow-up with the business to inquire, what their employment numbers look like. But that would have to be something that the committee implements intentionally, because it would require staff to then follow up with these businesses. If it's one of the things where when they come up for renewal, we can include that in their renewal application, then that's an easier way to do it, right? Because they have to come before the board anyway. So maybe that's something the committee can consider.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Millie, it's Jen. That's a really good question. Something that I mean, you just bringing this up made me think about oftentimes, especially for me in the IBZ, we get, Netflix is on Johnson, right? And me and the Assemblywoman about a month ago took a tour, and they swore up and down that a good portion of their folks are walking to work, right? Whether it's the catering vendors, the security, and we're asking for those numbers. So my commitment, I think, is anytime that they're coming to me at the council saying, hey, we want to meet with the community board, we want to build, we want to do all these projects, and we know that our manufacturing zones are vulnerable to developers, I'm happy to set something up where we internally are keeping track of that, especially if they're coming to the council and if they're coming to the community board. Let's brainstorm. But I think that's a really good idea. I think it's, it might require someone to like update it, but I do love the ability to like put pen to paper and to keep track of those promises. Because even when they come and they said, oh, we have 10 workers from the neighborhood, like, where's the neighborhood? Where does the line end? Like, that's you not hiring people from the LES and telling me that's Bushwick. So I think it's important. That's a really good question. So let's brainstorm is what I'm saying. And I'm sure we can brainstorm with Councilmember Nurse as well. Thank you for bringing that up.
I also have a concern. So in regards to this, not you, Madam Chair, in regards to the 311 complaints. So we make a recommendation in regards to this, but we are going to write in the application saying that that we didn't. That they didn't answer the call in regards to the 311 complaints, which they had because they didn't come. They don't give us the respect and come neither, and even talk about that. So is there any way us as a tool to say, well, these are the recommendation, but they never came, and I don't think that they should go forward with it until they answered or addressed these issues and concerns that we may have, because we keep getting the same thing over and over and over, and the complaints and the noise and the feces and the urine when they're coming out and people making noise. And I get videos of kids, ladies that can't sleep because their babies are crying and they're making a lot of noise outside in some of these places. So if we want to hold them to the pole, how is it that we, as a community board, can hold them where the SLA can say, well, you didn't come here, well, you got to go back, you got to address these issues, and then we'll think about giving you, or they're just going to be ching-ching, let the cash register ring, and then we deal with the problem later on like we're having now.
So I'll answer part of that question, Mr. Camacho, which is really, has been a problem. But this particular establishment or any other establishment that triggers the 500-foot law would have to technically submit a letter of support as to why, they are a contribution to the community. And that is an opportunity for members of the community to say something, to write a letter, to voice your opinion. There are hearings that you can attend and say, I am, in opposition of this business or this establishment because of XYZ. And that's one way that you can, have your voice be heard. And what we've been trying to do in the committee is just keep the lines of communication with the 83rd open. We get a report every month in regards to 311 calls for the businesses that are coming up for renewal. So we try to do our best to keep track of the establishments that are saying, or pretending to be good actors and are actually not. This particular establishment did have just noise complaints. And what we did do in this instance, Mr. Camacho, is did inform the SLA that they did not attend our committee meeting and that we are recommending for them to come and present and talk to us at the following meeting to discuss the 311 complaints. But we want to continue to encourage and put in place the stipulations, because if we don't do that, they can go and do something completely different. And then that puts us in a worse position than we are right now.
What I'm saying, man. In regards
Mr.
to
Camacho, we can't hear you.
okay, my thing is that if we turn around and we say, as a committee, and say that we're not gonna, this is what's on there, but we're not gonna approve it because you never came and answered these questions. Now, if they do it anyway, then mind you, SLA, then at least it shows us as a community that we're trying to work with the people that are in these establishments to do something positive, to come to us and help us and guide us, but not to do something negative where later on they want to turn around and not give them because something, God forbid, something does happen. And they say the community board put a recommendation in. And also I realize that when you guys say no alcohol at 12, but they could stay open, but the license says 2 p.m. So who's enforcing the no alcohol at 12?
PD.
I know PD. The license doesn't say that.
Okay, just to answer the question, if there is a license that has to be visible in an establishment, who enforces the terms on that license? It would be the PD if there were to be a complaint at that establishment. But just to echo what Melissa had said, all of this is reflected in the letter. So anything that happens at a committee meeting, if an applicant is not there, it is reflected within the letter that goes to the SLA. It is also included with the recommendation from the committee because we only have 30 days. The board, the committee always have the 4 options: yes with STIPs, yes alone, no alone, or no with stipulations. So you can always disapprove with stipulations and note that an applicant was not there to have their application heard. That is just an option. And then one other thing for this particular applicant, there will be an asterisk on this response because they also requested a waiver for their 30-day notice. And it was given with the stipulation that they attend the meeting to respond to their noise complaints, and they still did not attend the meeting. So that will also be reflected in the letter to the SLA. Okay. Any other questions for this committee?
Yes, Celeste, Annette Spelling.
Go ahead, Annette.
Melissa, you mentioned that there was a petition submitted to you. Did you or someone from your committee verify those signatures on that petition?
Yes, Ms. Spellin. I review all the documents before our meeting, and in fact, they were within a 5-block radius, Stockholm, Harmon, all around in the Bushwick area. So they were valid signatures. I think maybe there was 1 or 2 that were not really nearby, but they just wanted to make sure that they did their due diligence in informing the community of the establishment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last call, going once, going twice. Seeing no other hands, we will move on now to. We have our Environmental Protection, Transportation, Sanitation Committee is next. Barbara?
Okay. I'm gonna be short due to the time, it's running late. We had a meeting on October 24th. We had Eric Figueroa from the Public Park Partnership Get Around Car. He presented that what they wanted to do is have park and share cars in Bushwick. They weren't asking for anything because I feel this was, they already are going to do this, okay? There's a full detail of the report that you can get from the office because it's very lengthy, like I said, due to time. It's just too long, but the committee was totally against it. It was totally against it, all right? And then also we had, let me see if I have to get his name right. James Morris from the Capital Project for Department of Parks and Recreation. He gave us the update on all the parks and what's going on in the parks. Also, last month, I attended a BK Swab meeting, which was very good. It was fun with the transportation. I learned a lot of stuff. Also, I attended the Bushwick Sanitation Workshop meeting. And I also attended the Rat Academy that they had last week. It was very informative, and I suggest that we all take one of those classes and see. Like I said, if you want a copy of the car report, is at the office. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. I just want everybody to know that I think Celeste and a couple of people passed the pruning thing. So maybe we can,
Yes, we did.
maybe we can have them come on a Saturday or Sunday. I know yourself too can come out there and clean our pits and trim our trees. So thank you, Sandy Nurse, for everybody. You got the list, so we know. So we got the list. She paid for it. So y'all better come out here and do some work. Because I'm going to be out there. She told me I'm going to be supervisor. I want to make sure y'all do it right. You know, cut the hair right, trim it. Y'all going to be Edward Scissorhands. So I just want to let y'all know.
Oh, thank you.
I see Anne. Go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, just very briefly, is it the tree pruning and is it the same time as the Housing and Land Use Committee? So I can't attend, but I would love to, and I know other people want to as well, so.
There's going to be another one in the spring. Hopefully it won't be Tuesday evening. So yeah, this course already ended, but yes, there'll be another one coming up in the spring.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, we got a lot of trees to clear.
If there are no other questions, oh, Ben, grab the mic.
Yes, Madam Chair, I had a question. At the EPTS meeting, I think we left off with the get around folks that they were willing to take our recommendations on alternative parking spaces. I think they were just going to put them on the street. And they asked us for about like a week to get back to them. I was wondering if we've had any dialogue with them since then.
So, yeah, I have not heard from anyone and I have not received any suggestions for locations.
Because I know a place over there in Williamsburg that could take them, and also Ridgewood that needs it because there's no train on that side. So so we know somewhere on Ridgewood that you could put the ride share and take 2 parking spots, and they don't have to alternate move it. So we could put it over there where and in Ridgewood there's a nice spot. I know where they can put it in Ridgewood.
I would love for Ridgewood to come out to fight you. But the rideshare program that has already been in Williamsburg, it has been on the south side for a few years. I would say has been pretty successful in the fact that it is, in most cases, it's no more than 2 spots, but they're being utilized. It's not being utilized in all seriousness.
Well, I hope. When
I make no guarantees.
Yes,
Chair Camacho.
Okay. When what I hope is that when we have the community owners forum and we want the residential parking, that we want to fight for community, 2 families and 1 family home to have residential parking in the front. We hope that you guys echo the same thing that they're echoing for the ride share, because they're only paying $1,600 for life, and I don't mind paying extra in my taxes once I get the front of my home where I can park when I come. And we have seniors and old people that need that. So we need that residential parking, because City Bike can get it. Bike cars can get it. That shared thing. City Bike kiosks are taking sidewalks now. Sheds are taking sidewalk. But us that pay taxes and own our home don't have a parking space. Why? We got to clean 18 inches over the curb. We got to clean the snow. And if someone falls in our property, they measure. The city comes out and measure. If you fall on that side, it's the city. And if you fall, but we still got to get a lawyer and go to court and fight it. And if a tree picks up the thing, the insurance takes it away from us. So why are we getting penalized? And these people that come here make all the money, and the people that have been in this community can't have just one thing, parking.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. If there are no other questions for environmental protection and go ahead, Joanna.
Yeah, I just want to be mindful of the time. It's 8:35. We still have a long way to go on the agenda.
We're almost there. We're almost there. Health. Thank you, Joanna. The next committee we have is our Health, Human Service, Senior Citizen Veterans Committee meeting. Is Cheryl there? Not hearing from Cheryl. I will go ahead and provide an overview. I was not in attendance at this meeting. Sharon from the office assists with the Health Committee. There was 1 presenter. This was a graduate student or current PhD candidate, actually, from the Community Health and Health Policy, CUNY Graduate School of Public Health. And this presentation was on The Health Equity and Access to Care Project, some of you may remember last month they made an announcement. The HEAC project is funded by the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene as a response to their racial equity initiatives and interests about segregation that occurs in healthcare settings. The project team is in the process of coordinating focus group meetings in the coming weeks for everyday New Yorkers to help develop the best plan for improving healthcare access going forward. The focus group meetings are being scheduled 7 days a week with morning, afternoon, and evening availability to accommodate everyone's schedules. Upon completion, participants will receive $40 for their time. There's additional information about the presentation in the committee report. And I don't believe there were any other items. This was informational only. There was some committee mail. Please get your flu shot. That was the announcement that was made. And that is our health committee report for this month. Any questions? Going once, going twice, hearing none. We will move on to housing and land use. Anne.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. I will keep this as short as possible due to the time. It was a long meeting, as Ms. Bennett pointed out earlier, and it was actually a lot of complex stuff. So basically what the meeting was, it was October 25th, and we had a presentation from the Department of City Planning, Representative Carenza Wood, presented on City of Yes. This is Mayor Adams' sort of citywide proposal to, I will make a very brief statement or read his statement, which is, we're going to turn New York into a city of yes, yes in my backyard, yes on my block, yes in my neighborhood. Proposals are focused on economic recovery, affordable housing, and sustainability, and will remove red tape for small businesses, expand housing in every neighborhood, and accelerate the transition to our energy future. And it continues. So basically, this is all about the zoning code, 3 proposed zoning text amendments focusing on carbon neutrality, which I think we touched on a lot of those issues in the public hearing portion, talking about energy and different approaches to that. Then for economic opportunity, about jobs and small businesses and more flexibility in the zoning code for that. And then for housing opportunity, to make sure that every neighborhood is meeting the need. So basically, because this was such a huge presentation that we were really seeing for the first time, and it's citywide, what we asked DCP to do was to, we had so many questions, and I can give a very brief rundown of some of those questions, but we asked them in a couple months to look at this plan and help us contextualize it for Bushwick, because obviously we are not Midtown Manhattan, we are not Staten Island, we are Bushwick. We have a really particular situation, and so some of the stuff didn't have anything to do with us. A lot of it would have some real ramifications, and we had some questions. So I will, again, keeping mind on the time, I will keep it short, but some of the carbon neutrality things were, there's some really technical stuff in the zoning code that make it harder for new wind, solar, and energy storage. So it would fix that. And some of the tax incentives and things so that incentivizing owners, both individual small homeowners and then multifamily owners, to basically to improve the performance of their buildings. And some of there are some, again, obstacles in the zoning code. And then and that also applies to housing and the small business. So some of the questions were around actually even the tree pits, as Mr. Camacho was just mentioning. Millie asked about who pays for these retrofits, and so we started to get into the question of incentives and the financial incentives for stuff like this. And then also one question I had asked is that our former council member, now Brooklyn Borough President, has been championing a citywide comprehensive planning. And I think this is something that we have talked about both in committee and at the community board level before, as a way of making sure that the whole city is bearing this burden for housing, for energy, for all of this stuff. So we asked about that. So I think the long story short, because believe me, it is a long story, is that we really wanted to dig into some of these details. We asked for some more time and asked for DCP to come back to us. I would really encourage everyone to read the report. It is excellent. I'm also going to drop in the chat right now the link to DCP's wait, did I put, oh shoot, I put the wrong one in, sorry. Oh, crumbs, here it is, hang on 2 seconds. There we go. This is the City of Yes on DCP's website. Oh yeah, I had saved that excellent Doris information for my own, I was gonna follow up on it, so sorry, that was in my, anyway. I encourage everyone to read it. There is just one tiny correction that I'm sorry I missed in the notes, so I'll follow up in committee on that. But just that about hotels in M1, and I'll clarify that at the committee level. But I think the notes are terrific, and I think I really encourage everyone who is interested in this, because I think there are some real ramifications for Bushwick, to come to the next Housing and Land Use Committee meeting, especially when we schedule this. So that was our primary presentation. There was nothing to actually vote on. We then went into committee mail review. There were some updates from Riseboro in rehabbing some buildings, and the Rad Hope Gardens meeting, and really some changes at the DOB on proposed rules. We did old business was Jefferson Avenue. There has a young woman has come. She's been, they got an eviction notice, not because they did anything at all. It's because of construction next door. And that has been a problem, and they have not been able to go back to their house. And then let's see, sorry, I'm just running through this quickly. And then just there is, for new business, a Bushwick homeowners working group is getting off the ground. The Linden Street Historic District that has been proposed is picking up steam. And that looks like that will happen, which I think is really exciting. On 802 Flushing Avenue, a new hotel is going to be used as a shelter, a family shelter, I believe. And then Chauncey and Evergreen, there's a proposed development. So we just sort of quickly mention that. And the Duncan Gann Senior Residence Building, some conditions. And then we're also trying to build more of a database for Housing and Land Use Committee. So we really, again, always encourage people to come to participate, because, there's a lot of conversations around housing, land use, and development in Bushwick, and, welcome everyone's participation.
Thanks, Anne. I see a question. Is that Felix?
Yes. Something very important. We like Annie say, was so many questions about. I'm sorry. My name is Felix Ceballos. Was so many questions in that presentation. The zoning we know is in the whole citywide, but we very interesting in our situation in Bushwick community. And something what I asked them was, what about the residential area? Is going to affect with that new zoning? And they say yes, because we have so many situations already. We all the new construction we have in Bushwick, and with that zoning, we're going to get more issue. Now we asked them if they can come back to explain more the situation, because we very worried about that, because we have so many issues already in the area where I live. Is so many noise because it's so many business together, and we expect we hope that zoning, no comment, we a lot of issue we had already. That's what I want to mention about that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ceballos. And I think that's really important. There were so many questions. They committed to copying them down. And I think we will probably schedule that. I'm thinking January is much more likely than anytime before then, just because, holidays and stuff like that. But I think because this is citywide, but we were struggling to understand what it means specifically for Bushwick. And they did say they would come back. And I really hope that a lot of people are able to participate in that conversation, because I think it's a really important one.
Thank you. And just to confirm, they are coming in January unless something prevents them. So we will have another presentation, and it's still very early in the process. This is the time to provide feedback as opposed to when they are certified and coming before the board during the ULURP process.
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will move on now with our recommendations. Melissa, take it away. Only one.
Can everyone hear me? All right. All right, let's do it. First recommendation is to approve the establishment at 29 Wyckoff, the Dive Bar BK, full liquor license with the hours stated above in our report in recognition of stipulations in place. You can reference our notes. The second recommendation is in approval of the establishment 384 Nick LLC located at 384 Knickerbocker Avenue, looking for a full liquor license with the hours stated above in our meeting and recognition of stipulations in place. And then also a recommendation to vote in approval of the renewal for Old Timers located at 1157 Myrtle Avenue with the hours stated above and with recognition of stipulations in place, and also the information in regards to them not being present for our committee meeting. And we have a fourth recommendation around amending our CB4 permits and licenses stipulation sheet to be included in the economic development and permits and license recommended hours to be sent with the business notice in preparation for committee meetings. So we discussed this during our committee meeting 2 weeks ago, just to better prepare the establishments when they're coming to our meeting to help inform them and guide them in regards to what their expectations should be. We do not want to see 4 a.m. applications Monday through Sunday. It's just ridiculous. I don't know who needs those hours. So we want them to not be caught off guard and to have the information they need going into the process. And those are our recommendations. Does anyone want to make?
Is there a motion from the board? You can there could be a motion to blanket. There can be a motion to go one by one. Oh, go ahead.
Jose Guzman make a motion.
To blanket vote, or are we going to go one by one?
To do a blank vote.
Okay, a blanket vote. Is there a second for a blanket vote? Raul Brown made a second for the blanket vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Here, me, Carlotta Williams,
Do you oppose or abstain?
abstain. Zinavola abstain.
Okay,
Joanna Bennett abstains.
okay,
Head is hurting.
okay. 3 abstentions. The motion carries. Now, is there a motion on the recommendation? It's the recommendations themselves from any of the board members.
Jose Guzman make the motion.
With the motion in favor of, opposed, a motion for what?
Jose Guzman make a motion to approve.
Okay, in favor, okay. Is there a second?
I second Felix.
Raul beat you to it, Felix. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? I don't know. I learned something. Okay, all right. I'm asking, so for everyone's clarification, I asked if you can second a motion, but also abstain, and I was told, yes, you can do that. So I have Raul Rubio abstained. Anyone else abstained?
See Novoa, abstain.
Carlotta Williams. Joanna Bennett abstains.
Okay. And 4 abstentions. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our recommendations for this evening. We will now go on to old business. Any old business? Going once, going twice. New business, going once, going twice. Announcements, please raise your hand if you're on Zoom. If I do not see your hand, I will not call you. Please raise your hand for announcements. 1.5 minutes. Oh, Ms. Spellin, did you have something?
Yes, I wanted to remind you that we're supposed to have a public safety meeting with Senator Salazar on November 30th. We're still waiting for additional information.
Yeah. Great, thank you. And Carlos, I see you next.
Bless you.
Carlos, you muted?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So I want announcement for our office, for Senator Salazar's office, is the upcoming Public Safety Town Hall. We really want to highly encourage everyone to please come out. This is in collaboration with CB4, and we also have a survey that we would like as many people as possible to be able to fill out. That's going to be very important because it's going to help guide the town hall, and we want to make sure that everyone's voices are heard. We understand that public safety is a concern, so this is the moment. This is where people can share them and show up. I will put in the chat the link to the survey. The town hall is going to be on November 30th at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. So I'm going to drop the link to it. So I really encourage everyone to please fill that out and show up. Thank you so much.
Is there a location, Carlos?
Okay, yes, there's a location. Let me bring it up real quick. They'll be all in the chat. The exact location, I believe, we'll be able to also do Zoom hybrid, but I'll drop it all in the chat.
Thank you. All right, Lacey.
Hi, everyone. It's Lacey from the Brooklyn Borough President's Office. 2 very quick things. One, I just wanted to share that today, actually this morning, as you all know, the Borough President, one of his biggest priorities is maternal health. And this morning, we launched a multimedia, multicultural maternal health public education campaign to connect Brooklynites with information and resources for healthier pregnancies. So you're going to start seeing this campaign around. It's going to be at bus stops, on the subway, and we're going to have digital ads on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube that will connect people to an online resource guide. I'm going to drop the link in the chat in a second. And this has been guided by the Borough President's Maternal Health Task Force, and it's just like one part of a much broader program that we have in our office to support birthing people in Brooklyn. And then the other thing, for all the community board members, applications opened yesterday. They will be open until February 14th. So everyone who is up for reappointment should have received a notification email that includes the application. If you didn't get it, the information is on our website, or I'll share the email that you can reach out to. And also, in addition to reapplying, tell your friends, if you have folks that you think would be good board members, please encourage them to apply. That's it from me. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. Julio?
Good evening, everyone. Julio Salazar here from Congressman Velasquez's office. I'm back here at the office, as I might have reached out to several of you already to share my contact information. But once again, I'll drop it here in the chat. I was going through some of the board's older meetings just to catch up on what's been going on. So I'll definitely reach out to the chair and to the district manager to follow up on some of those issues that I saw that I think we can be of assistance on, namely Broadway. I hear you guys were discussing last month. So I definitely think there's something we can do there. So I'll follow up with the chair. Anything else I'll share as it relates to the Congresswoman's bills, I'll send that over so it can be included in the board's newsletter. But once again, I'm back here at the Congresswoman's office, and for anyone, if I'm a new face, I'll drop my contact information here in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Last call for announcements. Oh.
If board members are calling in, they need to give the office their phone numbers because we can't add you if you don't give us the number. We need your number, please. We cannot add you to the meeting if you don't give us the number. I also want an announcement from Assemblywoman Maritza Davila on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022, between 3 and 5 p.m. at 249 Wilson Street. She's going to be giving Thanksgiving giveaway. To reserve, you need to call to get a ticket. Our number is 718-443-1205. That's between 3 and 5. That's on the 22nd, Tuesday. And that is it. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. I already called her.
On the record.
Oh, happy birthday, everybody, Maritza. I called her. You should have told her to call. I'm kidding.
Excuse me, Celeste, the gentleman, who made the announcement about Salazar's town hall. I clicked the link. All it's showing is the survey. It is not showing a location for that town hall. And so for the purpose of the people who are there, if you could please say where the town hall is going to be.
Yeah.
The location.
Yeah. So
can I respond to that?
Go ahead, Carlos.
So as I put in the chat, it's most likely going to be at the Hope Gardens Community Center, but we're going to confirm that. So that's why everyone who fills out the
it
document
shows the
will get
survey, but the
location
survey
sent.
does not show the location. So that's what I'm trying to get clarification about. So you say it's going to be at Hope Gardens?
Yeah, but it is most likely going to be there.
So
So you don't know definitely where it's going to be.
It has yet to be confirmed. They will let us know once they confirm. That's what I heard.
Okay, because that's been the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead, Fran.
Yeah. Hi. Just going to highlight a few events. There's too many, but there's a bunch of flyers over there, and I did share them with Community Board 4 for the folks online. On Monday, 21st at 5:30 p.m., we're having a Know Your Rights utility event for folks behind on any kind of utility bill. There is a chance to apply for a debt forgiveness program. Very important. Come and learn, especially post-pandemic procedures around these things. Monday, 21st, 5:30 p.m. Follow us on our social media to see all the details. We're also promoting a freeze your rent program for seniors, vets, and folks with disabilities. nyc.gov/rent freeze. You can get all the information there. And this Saturday, we're hosting our second asylum seeker resource event. Please attend. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Fran. And I also have one announcement. I'll let Josh go first, though. Go ahead, Josh.
Yes. Good evening, CB4 before, I just want to reinforce that deed fraud is still a big issue here in Bushwick. Our seniors are being targeted with having their homes stolen. So it's important that all homeowners at their meeting and on the call register their home on Acris, because people are still losing their home, and mainly older people here in Bushwick. I would also like to direct you to our community board for YouTube page, in which we did an event on the deed fraud, so that you can learn as well as and friends. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. And I have a notice from the Department of Sanitation. This is a notice of public hearing and opportunity to comment on proposed rules as part of the city's commitment to cleaning up New York City streets and reducing food sources for rats. DSNY is proposing to amend its rule governing the time for placing solid waste and recyclable materials out of the curb for collection. DSNY will hold a public hearing on the proposed rule. The public hearing will take place on November 18th, 2022 via WebEx at 9:30 a.m. There is a link, meeting number, information. You can find the information and you can submit comments. http://rules.cityofnewyork.us. They don't make it easy. It really don't. Or you can email nycrules@dsny.nyc.gov. You can also mail information. If you have any questions about this, please call the board's office. I'm happy to send you a copy of this notice. And go ahead, Ms. Spellin.
Just one last thing about the Department of Buildings inspection. For those who have 3-family homes or more, you must have that inspection by the end of December. Otherwise, you are going to be fined. And it must be done by a licensed plumber. And today at the Clergy Council meeting, it was pointed out that the churches must also have that inspection. So please take care of that as soon as you can.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands, nothing in the chat, that concludes our announcements this evening. We will now move on with our second roll call. Board members, please be ready. Carlotta Williams.
Here.
Tashana Wade.
Present.
Jerry Valentine.
Present. Have a good night.
Ben Tucker. Leo Teneo.
Celeste, you got me? Tashana?
Yes, I got you. Thank you. Yes. Good night. Leo Teneo. James Stewart.
Good night.
Annette.
Here.
Thank you. Annette Spellin.
Good night.
Justin Sonborn. Maria Soler. Barbara Smith.
Yeah.
Got you, Barbara. Bernadina Shell.
Yes, you got me?
Yes. Milag.
Good night.
Eliseo Rui.
Good
Got
night.
you. Eliseo.
Good night.
Raul. Gladys Pulia. Asaya Polite.
Good night. Good night.
Got you, Gladys Asire.
Good night.
Thank you. Kyle O'Rourke. Zuma Navoa. Sammy Namir. Desmond Monroe. Imani Mitchell.
I said this is Navoa. Good night, everybody. Happy
Got you,
Thanksgiving.
Z. Got you, Imani. Mary McClellan. Cassandra LeVay.
I'm here. Have a great night.
Thank you, Koibe Koti. Nicholas
Present.
Kaplan.
Good night.
Present. Have a good night.
Thank you, Luisa Jose.
Good night.
Virgie Jones.
Good night.
Cheryl Jones. Barbara Jackson.
Yeah.
Tanisha Honeygan. Hadia Harrison.
Thanks.
Oh, got you. Jose Guzman.
Presente
And
and
Gaini?
good night.
Good night.
Christopher Graham.
Present. Good night.
Joanna Fuentes.
Night. Present.
Freddie Fowler. James Fitzgerald.
Present. Good night.
Elvina Davis. Andrew Choi. Felix Ceballos.
Good night. Andrew Choi.
Oh, got you. Got you, Andrew. Melissa Carrera Solano. Robert Camacho. Carl Brown. Joshua Brown.
Present.
Joanna Bennett.
Present. Have a blessed Thanksgiving, everyone.
Grace Aids. Stephanie Anderson.
Here.
Isa Abney.
Here.
Motion to adjourn. Raul made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Melissa
second the
seconded. All in
motion.
favor? Any opposed? Any
Aye.
abstentions? Good night. Happy Thanksgiving. Get home safe.
Good night.
Hey,